Okay, this is session 2 of our third series of Monsterhearts Mercy Falls, which is awesome. Um, I want to do a quick recap, a pretty thorough recap actually, of what happened last time. And once that's done, I will do a couple of little housekeeping things that we need to sort out, particularly as it relates to Jonah, because Jonah's been killed. And so we need to figure out what that is going to look like at the end in terms of like how he's going to come back from that. And then I'm going to turn it over to you guys to, if you guys want to talk about scenes you would be interested in having, the direction you kind of want to go with your character, just kind of, just kind of pie in the sky or like hopeful things about your characters. Just we'll kind of throw them out there. Gives me something to kind of play with when I'm thinking about scene framing. And the other players too, as far as like making those things happen. So recap. Okay, so Mercy Falls has been reset by Sister Mary Edward Price, and we think in collusion with Miss Forsyth as well, the vice principal. Folks are no longer troubled by the murders from a few months ago, and the suicide as well. And hardly anyone talks about Mr. Thompson. Serena, our vampire, went missing. Margot suspects the nun did it. Edward Belfontaine is not around. We haven't really said what happened to his investigation, but he's not presently in Mercy Falls. And the kids' parents are acting better. So basically, it's like Mercy Falls is just going back to normal, right? Even better than normal. So Yule Ball is coming up. It's Thursday night presently in the fiction. Friday night is Yule Ball, so that's very soon. The kids are getting their dates lined up. Lilith's going with Sarah as friends. Sarah thinks, anyway. There's some miscommunication going on about that, I think. Thomas sent a delivery boy to ask Lilith, but was rejected. Austin asked Margot, I believe, right? And Jonah is going to go with Rhodey and Tony just to terrorize the thing. Although Ben did ask to go with them as a sort of like friend chaperone thing. It was kind of a weird ask. And Ellen is currently dateless, though it's pretty obvious she
I
wants
don't
to go
want to
with
talk about
Thomas. It's fairly obvious she wants to go with Thomas. And in fact, lashed out at Lilith when Thomas asked her. Speaking of Thomas, the Thomas situation, while they were tagging up an old historical schoolhouse, the delivery boy presented himself to Jonah and the gang and practically begged for them to kill him on Thomas's orders. Presumably, Thomas is angry because he was rejected by Lilith. Margot witnessed this. Ellen and Jonah and company went up to Thomas's house on the hill to investigate what was going on. Thomas is pretty obviously going to hurt the delivery boy in some way, but still, like, the delivery boy was like begging to be let in nonetheless. Ellen got kind of freaked out and ran away. Ellen also incidentally tried to kill the delivery boy. that should not go unremarked. There was an attempted murder, even though it was a not great attempt. Ellen runs away, though, gets freaked out. Jonah continues around back, sneaks into what appears to be some kind of fey lair, encounters Thomas's goblins, and is murdered by one of them. We need to sort out how you're coming back from that using the death rules. Okay, so either if it's the same as in Monsterhearts 1, you're either going to Darkest Self or you're erasing all your strings. So think about that. Mary Edward Price, the nun. Margot and Lilith went to scope out the Egyptian palace, bar and hotel, where the nun is currently staying while she does her work. The boozy older woman who runs the place is named Adeline. She does not seem to trust Sister Mary Edward Price. There's a bit of hint of that. The girls made friends of sorts with the young man who waits tables there. We actually didn't get his name. I don't think we can name him if it comes up. I also have a note about Pharaoh burgers and Giza onion ring pyramids, so that's great. Upon searching her room, they discovered from a vision that Mary Edward Price is some sort of monster hunter. And in fact, when Ellen ran into the nun toward the end of the first session, it was strongly implied that she was on her way to kill Thomas, right? She had like her bag and she was working her way up to the house. And we as players, we think that's what was going to happen, even if the characters don't realize it. Mary Edward used some sort of hypnotic voice power she has to get Ellen to confess to being a revenant. And well, we'll flesh that out more as we go. And her precise connection to Miss Forsyth is still unknown, though they are clearly they're clearly friends. So, did I forget anything? Is there anything else you guys want to throw in there?
That vision that one of them had of the African scene.
Right. Yeah, that was the one. That was kind of where I think we learned that she was a monster hunter. Like, right. And it seemed like interrogating that vision a bit. I meant to suggest that like she tried to save that person and it didn't work out. So instead, she killed them. Right. Like it was a sort of cut off the arm to save the body situation. Right. Um, and so yeah. Anything else needs to be gone over? I think that was everything. So with all that said, let's talk really briefly about death in Monsterhearts. And of course, I don't have my book handy or my notes, but let me grab them.
Yeah, it looks like you're exactly right. It's become your darkest self or lose all strings.
And I think whichever you choose there, Philip, is going to have a big effect on the fiction, right? Because I think it's going to depend on what your darkest self does, and so let's just talk that out. Like, what is your darkest self? You want to read it off to us?
Yeah. My darkest self is they've failed you. There's no reason why you should have to suffer the consequences of their idiocy. You need to make an example out of each of them, a cruel and unwavering example. You escape your darkest self when you relinquish part of your power over to someone more deserving, or when you destroy an innocent person in order to prove your might.
That's really interesting. That implies that you blame Rhodey and Tony, right, for this happening.
Yeah.
And you would have to punish one of them in a way to escape that.
Each of them.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
I need to make an example out of each of them.
Is that interesting to you, or do you want to go the lose strings route?
I think I can work with this.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, what do your strings even look like, right? I mean, you have a lot of strings. It would kind of
have a lot of strings.
To lose those. Yeah.
That seems like it would be harder to establish in the fiction in the darkest self.
What do you mean?
Like losing the strings on everyone.
Oh yeah. Well, the way I always interpret losing strings is like you literally die and then come back, and you're like this, and you're kind of like a little dead inside, and so your strings are
like
kind
weird.
Of yeah. The darkest self one probably sounds more satisfying to me. So
we haven't seen much darkest self, so it'd be fun to kind of get that out on the board.
Yeah, we can do that. Okay, then I guess we just have to sort out like how you're going to escape the situation, right? Like how are you going to get?
I totally already know.
All right, cool. As long as you have an idea, so we'll roll with that. So before we begin play, then I'll just turn it over to you guys. Any thoughts on aspects of the story you're interested in, things you'd like to do with your character, directions you think it might go? This doesn't guarantee anything. It's just a conversation.
I would love a chance to have a one-on-one with Sister Mary Edward Price, just to see what that feels like.
Good. I've got a thing for you straight away too. As soon as we begin, I've got a Marco thing. So that may answer some of your questions actually. So.
I'm just trying to recall. Were all of you still like in the motel?
I know Margot and Lilith are still in the hotel.
The hotel. Okay.
Ellen is in the car with Sister Mary Edward Price, basically confessing to or giving up that like she's been murdered repeatedly. Was the last thing we saw. Now how Sister Mary Edward Price reacts, who knows? But yeah. So yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing something where Ellen sublimates that desire and drive and passion that she had for Thomas into something, more antithetical to Thomas, that, as that flip that switch perhaps.
He's not a good guy, right?
Right.
Like, he's not a good guy. He's clearly abusive. He is, I mean, he would be the master in My Life with Master, just to kind of key off something that happened recently. He's that kind of character, right? So it makes sense. I could see it either way, right? Like, I could see Ellen, like, kind of finally, having had this sort of like confession to Sister Mary Edward, like maybe like unshackling the sort of like weird guilt and shame and self-loathing that she has because of her circumstances, and sort of breaking free, right? And Thomas being one of those things she breaks free from. I could also see, on the other hand, just as an idea, um, you know, people who stay in abusive relationships, people who are in abusive situations, it often is not rational. It's very often nothing that makes any sense. So I can see it either way. It's an interesting idea.
For me, the most significant thing is that she did go to commit murder and violence, and that's so intimately tied to her own cycle of suffering.
Yeah.
And I think that is yeah.
I'm into that. That makes sense. Yeah, that angle actually makes a lot of sense. Like, it would be a real, like, what are you doing kind of moment, right? Like, what the hell are you doing, right? And I like how you confessing to Sister Mary Edward followed immediately after you trying to commit a murder, right?
Yes.
There's a certain, sort of like appropriate thing going on there. Okay, cool. Lilith, what about you? Lilith, you're kind of like you're the most like grounded in like just high school stuff right now, right? Like, you're going to dance, Sarah.
Yeah, we haven't done much with the jury of Fae yet, so
Right.
maybe see what that even means in the fiction.
I think Thomas exists in the fiction principally because I want him to be a countervailing force to your faery, right?
Right.
He is a fae. He's doing something up in his big old house. And so we're in a weird situation that you're not actually pursuing the Thomas thing right now. So we actually don't have, so there's not like a connection there yet. But we can make that happen, though. I mean, I can definitely get this fae jury, like, we can frame up a scene where it's like, oh, hey, this guy's up here doing this bad thing or whatever. Right? So.
Yeah, like I said before, I'm really into the idea of Lilith having reclaimed a whole bunch of confidence from both like finding the jury, but also like having this like sex positive awakening within her, and she's like slowly taking that experience to become a more confident person. So I think something like that would be neat, just so there's like a very interesting character arc from 1 to 3.
I mean, I do like the idea that I don't think the Lilith of series 1 would have asked out Sarah to the Yule Ball, right? And I think just that alone, like a little shift, almost certainly flowed from that you had that incredibly bizarre scene where you had an orgy with your brothers and sisters in between your mother's gigantic legs. So that would loosen anyone's inhibitions, right? I mean, once you go there, you don't turn back, right? So
yeah, it changed me a little bit.
A little bit. So
yeah, so I don't know. I think just fleshing out Jury of Fae, and then I'm just kind of excited to see what she does as a more confident person. And probably, like I said, I'm at 3 XP, so 2 more, and I'm probably going to go for Wild Hunt and start kind of turning like a little bit more Fae, so I get that +1 when I turn people on. And I want to try to get more strings on people, especially because it's kind of implied that if I want to go back to that place, to use guide, I think I need to use somebody else as well with me, right?
I'm not sure. I have to look at the
mechanically, like guide, if you spend a string on someone willing, you can bring them across the veil into the fairy realm. The spell lasts for a scene or 2 because you're both returned. before you're both returned to the mundane world. So, and like my other moves aren't just like, you can go there. So it implies that if I want to go back, then I kind of need to get strings on people and I need to spend them to go back with them.
To go back with them for sure, right? I mean, like, you definitely need to have the strings to get that. Yeah. And I think to the extent that you want that to be a bigger part of the story, and that's how you want to spend your strings, yeah, for sure, that makes a lot of sense. Well, so then I guess like we just need to sort out, like, because we're in kind of a hot situation right now with Thomas, right? I think that I like that, like, there's been this like sort of lash out from Thomas, right? A reminder that he's still part of the world, even though he's not like right in the middle of the school. But I think it might be like, now that this thing has happened to Jonah, I think there's probably like a good chance for him to sort of to recede again, and it be more about Jonah and Tony and Rhodey, and kind of back to Sister Mary Edward and all that stuff, right? So, in which case, I think like it'll give us a chance to kind of build out the Fae conflict a little bit more organically, and not have to worry about this like craziness that's going on right at this precise moment, if that makes sense. Philip, what are you thinking as far as how this scene is going to resolve itself? Like, I want to know what that looks like just out of character, so that I can figure out what the order of scenes is going to be as we start.
So I'm imagining like sort of a devil's bargain with Thomas, and like mechanically it would be my strings attached move that I have already. And you would just name a price.
Oh, I see. So
I'm imagining will tie into like my darkest self. So I will go darkest self, because the darkest self has basically two resolution points in it. Like, one is like you relinquish your power over to someone more deserving, or you destroy an innocent person in order to prove your might. So imagining like the bargain would kind of tie in with one of those things.
So to be perfectly clear, Thomas would propose to you like, I can save you right now, or I can bring you back to life, or whatever. And he'll just be doing that and I guess like he'll just get a string or whatever, I guess, mechanically. But then like you come back and you're still mad at Rhodey and Tony, though, because you feel like they put you in that situation.
I think the way I'm imagining it is that he's going to like magically keep me kind of alive. But I'm gonna be like a darkest self monster for a bit, and then when I do this thing that he wants me to, then I'll suddenly be back to my normal self, but it'll have been awful. That's what I'm imagining. Like I'm imagining he's going to fuck some shit up. Like, I don't think it's just gonna be like, I'm not imagining Thomas just like killing him and then I just go back to school and I'm just mad at my gang. If that makes
so
sense.
It's almost like you're sort of like you've almost got like a revenant quality to you in that sense, right? Like, it's
that's what I'm imagining. I'm kind of I think I'm gonna kind of terrorize people a bit. Like, I'm imagining like my two guys are gonna like run off, but they're not going to get too far into town.
Okay, all right, okay. That'll be fun too, because then that means you have to rebuild your gang, right? Like, if you do something bad to Rhodey and Tony, you'll have to like have new gang members. So, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, let's take a quick 2-minute break and we'll come back and we'll get started.
Hey, Fraser.
Hey.
So I still think it would be really cool for us to cross paths somehow. I don't know how it's going to happen anytime soon because
maybe when you're not Darkest Self, I'll come by.
when I'm not,
yeah. I'll just avoid you until then. Scary Jonah put on his mask and.
I actually had an idea. I don't know if it's something you wanna go for. So I'll just pitch it to you and see what you think. You're looking for a reason to go to the Jury of the Fae.
Yeah,
well,
kind of.
if you see this monster that Thomas has unleashed on the town.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I might need my bros and my sisters to come help.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was thinking I would be like this weird, like sort of forest god monster like thing for a bit.
Cool.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
Sounds like the last season of True Blood.
I never watched the last season of True Blood, so
it wasn't very good, to be honest. But the creature was cool.
Cool. Now I have to watch that.
It was like
thanks, Fraser.
The bad person was like a god who basically infested the whole town with like this weird, like sexual energy. So like it was like everyone was screwing and being.
But it sounds kind of like the second or third season or whatever.
Oh,
where
really?
there was the
maybe
Minad.
Yeah,
maybe that's what you're thinking of. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
I watched that then.
Yeah.
That would be cool too.
Yeah.
Everyone just starts having sex.
Yeah. Jonah's like, you think I'm weird? Wait till you see the things you're gonna do to yourselves.
We will see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, so there's the innocent being killed, and the other thing is we got poor little Ben and his granola bars floating around out there. And from a TV show perspective, that would be the old, the lovable side character and just off them.
Yeah, the thing is that it's not necessarily kill them, it's destroy them. So there's a lot of ways that this can be,
yes.
that Thomas can be sadistic.
Poor Ben.
Excuse me. Cool. I have a roll for your party. Normally Sterling Satyr. That seems appropriate.
Oh, we actually have.
Yeah, we have.
I really like that name.
Supposedly Violet Mallard. Yeah.
Yeah. If we use the other one, it just has our dice already in there. That's all.
That's good. Got it. What are all these dice that are on here?
Oh, so like it's really easy if you just put out 2 dice for each character, and then you can just re-roll selected.
Got it.
You don't have to clear things out or anything.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. So as I recall, Margot and Lilith, did Sister Mary Edward Price have documents and things in her room as well?
I don't think we found any, right?
Yeah, I think it was all pretty like empty, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't.
It was like super Spartan, and there was that big cross.
Yeah, the big cross.
And she had like military-esque type packing of her nunnery clothes and stuff.
Right.
I think that was about it.
Assuming that you're leaving, is there anything else you want to do in her room?
Yeah, we had actually just walked out of the room, and right before we did that, I had written down on the hotel stationery, "We know you're a lie," or "We know you're fake." That's what it was. We know you're fake.
Right.
And had just stepped out.
That boozy owner, or manager at least, of the Egyptian palace, Adelind, she kind of just appears as you guys are stepping out into the restaurant area to leave. She kind of is there, and she's, just to remind you, she looks, I'm imagining her looking like Jessica Lange, personally, modern day Jessica Lange, with like wearing like a woman's, like a slim fitting, woman's business suit skirt and a blouse, right? And she's got a half empty tumbler of something. And she kind of like steps up to the two of you and she looks at you, Lilith, and says, I was wondering, my wee lassie, if you wouldn't mind hitting it so that the little Peking duck and I can have a conversation.
I think Lilith shoots a look at Margot like, is this cool? Is this what you want?
And I give this might be a GTFO moment anyways look back to you because I made a promise.
Oh yeah, okay, sounds good. Fucking, I'm out. I walk swiftly.
Where will you go, Lilith? Just out of curiosity.
Not too far, but like, I'm thinking like a little ways down so that I could still look through the window at their conversation. But if shit starts going down, I can like run like the wind.
Right, yeah. In case Margot turns into a werewolf randomly in the middle of the restaurant. Who knows? Once Lilith is gone, nobody else is in the bar. She kind of like circles back around to the bar and she says, so, can I get you anything?
Well, first, I would just like to correct an apparent misperception on your part. I'm of Korean descent, not Chinese, so cut out the Peking duck stuff. Okay?
And she kind of looks at you and she kind of puts her hands on the bar and she says, okay. Whatever makes you feel comfortable, hon. Gosh, some people can't take a joke anymore. And she reaches for a bottle. She, it's like some kind of bottle of like brandy or something. She says, can I pour you
one? Thanks, but nope. I saw what that stuff did to my dad, among other chemical substances.
Oh, yes, your dad. I'm glad you bring that up because that's what I want to talk about today.
What, are you one of his customers? Or because
gosh, no, I have one.
I'm not covering any debts if he was buying from you, and I'm not fulfilling any sales if you were buying from him.
I've only got the time and inclination for one poison, and you're looking at it. She points to the wall behind her, right? She says, I know what you're doing here. I know, for example, that you're wondering how come in just 3 months, everybody in town has forgotten about the teacher who murdered a bunch of kids and that waitress, your father who, well, we know how that turned out. No one's talking about it, right? Isn't that weird?
Yes, that's super weird. And why are you talking about? Because I got to tell you, you're kind of wigging me out right now.
We have a bit of a habit in Mercy Falls of this sort of behavior. And I think this may go much deeper than you realize. Back in 1989, Norma, the waitress who was killed at the Double Q, she was the leader of a cult, a moon goddess cult. They kidnapped people, committed murders of their own, and then it just stopped and no one talks about it anymore. A few years before that, in 1983, a bunch of kids were stalked by a serial killer and murdered. I remember because I had weekend detention when it began. No one talks about those killings anymore. Years before that, more cult activity, strange art movements. Before that, a young man returns home from the war and a bunch of old women go missing. No one talks about any of this stuff anymore. Don't you find that a little odd?
And disturbing.
Well,
so what are you saying to me?
I'm saying I know what you're up to. I can smell big man on you. And I'm saying that Sister Mary Edward Price, she's just a tool. She's the hammer, so to speak. She's not the person with the toolbox. She's not the person in charge of this little operation. You want to go deeper, you need to talk to old Sheriff Nichols, Catherine Forsyth. They're the ones who really know what's going on in this town.
Sheriff Nichols and Catherine Forsyth are the people with the toolbox? That's what you're saying?
They're the people who have been keeping Mercy Falls tidy for the last 30 years. Whenever the woods get fussy, whenever there's an agitation, they're the ones who calm everything down. But this last one was a bad one if they called that nun in.
So what's your deal in all this? Why are you sharing all this with me? I mean, look, I'll be upfront with you since you seem to be dropping knowledge to me. I intend to clean up some of these lies in town.
Oh, good.
You seem to be actually kind of honest about this whole thing. What are you? Is there something you want from me?
Honest. That's a very interesting adjective to be applied to me. I know lots of people would not see it that way.
Well, no one else will admit what's going on in this town. At least you will.
I'm more of a careful observer. And let's just say, back in '83, when I was a girl, a number of my friends were killed. And no one talks about it anymore. And that bothers me. And so I too would like some sort of resolution, some sort of justice.
Well, that's what I want. I definitely want to see some changes around here. We've got an overlap of interests.
Yes, possibly. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to tend to my customers. She goes and pours herself another drink.
I'll shove back from the bar up and walk out looking around for Lilith.
I think Lilith like tackles you headlong. Like you just don't even see her coming. She just like revs right into your side and does the patented like hit on your arm, and she's like, "What was that all about?"
Let's get on the street to talk about this. You're not going to believe this. So the boozer, she's saying she knows what Sister Mary Edward Price is. She said she is just merely a tool, and that the people who have the toolbox or workbench or wherever that metaphor goes are Sheriff Nichols and Miss Forsyth, and that they're behind several cycles of this horrible things happening to Mercy Falls, and then everyone just disregarding it and letting it go.
I think Lilith is stunned for a moment, and then she does her like, "Shut up," and hits you in the arm again.
We got to work on your punching skills. You're not following through properly, Lilith.
I'm going to cut over to Ellen. Ellen, you snap out of this weird hypnotic state you were in, right? That she kind of put you in when you closed your eyes. And you're still in the car there with Sister Mary Edward Price, and she says, "Dear, I'm going to take you home now, but I want you to come by my office in the administrative suite of the high school. You know where it's at. You've seen me around. I want you to come by my office tomorrow morning because I think we need to discuss this matter more. Is that all right? Would you be willing to do that?
Doesn't say anything. She just kind of does the uncertain head shake.
She kind of puts her hand on your hand, and I wouldn't say it's like unnerving. I would say it's actually probably like very genuine and warm, sort of like touching your hand. And she says, I can tell you have put up with some really terrible things, and I just want you to know that we're going to make it better. Okay, Ellen, we're going to make it better.
Can we go now?
She starts the car and kind of pulls back down the way. You get down the hill back to the sort of main highway that connects up with Mercy Falls proper toward your house. And she says, after some silence, she says, so, do you have a date for the Yule Ball?
She actually gets like angry that's her opening line on this, and she just clenches her fists and puts her hands on her legs and turns and looks out the window.
She's like, sorry, I shouldn't pry. I was just trying to make conversation.
I don't want to talk about boys with a nun.
She's like, and she kind of laughs and says, you know, just because I've chosen to marry Christ doesn't mean that I don't understand where young women are coming from, Ellen. I'm still a human. I'm still a woman. And I wasn't unlike you in school, if I'm being perfectly honest. I was something of an awkward girl. I had a difficult time.
Can you just stop talking?
All right. She kind of like pats your knee. Says, I think we're almost to your place just now. And she stops in front of the
in the second that the car is even still in motion, kind of that not quite stopped, I am throwing that car door open, and nice. I'm doing that thing where I grab onto the car door when I get, because I'm gonna slam this as hard as inhumanly possible.
Nice.
You know.
And she rolls the window down. She says, tomorrow morning after homeroom?
Run.
Yeah. I saw the note. It's not a shutdown. I don't think Sister Mary Edward Price is capable of being shut down.
Oh, no, I don't think so. That's more of an act out.
Yeah. That was just a thrashing with no mechanical support whatsoever.
Especially because after I slammed it, then the of the window coming down.
It's a good scene. Okay. All right, let's sort this out, Jonah. All right, so
I'm imagining it's like slow motion. And
yeah, frame the scene for me. I'll follow the
lead. And so these like things, like what were they, like goblin?
They're his goblins, yeah, but they don't look like goblins.
And they were like
they're a sort of goblin. Right? They throttled you. They crushed your esophagus.
Oh, right. And I'm imagining that. I'm imagining they do a bit more than that too. Like I'm imagining that's happening, and I'm like reaching out to Rhodey and Tony, and then I see like the look of fear in their face as they like turn and run.
Oh, like the goblins, because the goblins had grabbed them, but maybe they just kind of pulled them away, but not actually holding them, I guess.
something like that. And then I'm imagining that maybe the goblins start like clawing out my guts a bit.
That was really nasty.
As I like fall to the ground. And I think that I start bleeding out, and then like I saw the stag skull mask on, and through the holes you can like see my eyes in the light, but then like as my head slumps, the light no longer shows my eyes, and it just looks like the eyes get dark, and I'm just bleeding out. And I think that's when Thomas walks up.
So just out of character again, he's going to save your life. And is he the one who's like, who wants you to do bad things to Rhodey and Tony? Or are you doing that because you're just angry about the situation?
Oh, that's me being angry because they left me. But I think he's got something else in mind as well.
That's perfect. Okay, good. I need to take a moment to pull up my other Mercy Falls notes. I was earlier today and I couldn't find them. I need to want to note Thomas's strings. Unless I have that on the third tab, maybe I do. No, I don't. So. In Mercy Falls 83, I think I'm tracking it on the spreadsheet, but I'm not tracking it on this one. So. There we go. I'm gonna give him another string on you. And I'm also going to erase his condition as well. Because
I didn't realize he had one.
He has a condition that like you were kind of befuddling him, but that's long.
Oh yeah, no longer.
That's not a thing anymore. So okay, let's pick that up. You have several, like, you know how like in hospital dramas and stuff, we sometimes see the patient like in surgery or in some kind of like duress, and they have like a flash of like the nurses and doctors doing their thing, and then they go back out and they flash, and we hear the doctor say, "I don't think we're going to be able to save him," and then like it goes back out, right? Like it's like this like constant flashing of like we as a viewer get to see what's happening outside of them, but like the person only has little snatches of it. It's like that. We see like at first we see like I think it's pretty weird. We see the goblins with Thomas standing over them. We see the goblins like removing your internal organs, and then it flashes away. Then it flashes back, and we see them stuffing the cavity with nightshade and other plants and flowers, right? Like just filling the cavity with it, right? And then we flash, and you're all sewn up. You're still laying there in the middle of some room. The room, I should note, has got that sort of like sickly green motes of light kind of illuminating everything. We see a flash of his sort of like major domo goblin, the one that has the metal mesh suit. They all have metal mesh suits, but like this one has like the flowers on it, right? That's how we know he's the one in charge. He's like standing over you, and he does his line. Now you are beautiful, right? and then we flash away from that. It feels like a lot of time has passed. It's a little unclear. At a certain point, we have a flash, and Thomas is basically making out with your corpse or whatever is left of you, right? That flashes away. That just happened at some point in the middle of all this. Who knows when? And eventually you're awake. You feel fine. You're angry, but you are you're out You've been deposited on the road down the hill.
Okay.
Just laying there in the dead leaves and mud. Not a completely unusual situation for you, right? The mask, nowhere to be found. What do you do?
Okay. Do I have any indication of how much time has passed? It's like seems
it's
like
at least
been
next
a while.
morning. I think it's the next morning, at least. And
all right.
Also, no indication of like surgical scars or anything. Just smooth flesh on your abdomen.
Okay.
How are you
So
feeling?
I think I'm feeling. I think that when I wake up and I'm in these leaves and then it's mud, and I think I like sit up and I like do this wail like, and then I like look down at my stomach and I start like feeling my stomach, and I'm like smearing finger marks as I'm like feeling like where I should be like cut open and shit. And I feel my throat, and then I look around and I like feel that I'm not wearing my mask anymore. And I think like I see the headlights of a car coming, and that's when I kind of scramble to my feet and go and I hide behind a tree.
Okay, so it's really early morning then, right? Not even dawn, right? Like maybe not quite dawn.
It's early enough to where like someone would be having their headlights on.
It's probably like 5 in the morning, 4
right.
5 in the morning, right? Yeah.
And like I'm like behind the tree and I'm like breathing heavily, and then I think we see him like run off. And then I think he goes to this I think it's like a hunting store or something that has
I have no doubt there's definitely one in Mercy Falls, right?
There's like a stag skull in like the window, and he just like breaks the glass with his fist.
Nice.
Like I would say, like even if he has to take a harm, he'll do that just because he has to have his. It's like his face.
Yeah, harm seems. I'll take that. Yeah, I think let's go with the harm instead of like provoking and keep your cool. I think it's early enough in the morning where nobody would be around,
right?
Pay attention.
And he's not keeping his cool,
right? Well, yeah, that too. Yeah.
And he just like he smashes the window and like grabs the stag skull in the window and like pulls it through the glass, and his like arm is all cut and bleeding, and he just like puts it on his head.
Okay.
And I think that's all.
Yeah, I love it. We're gonna put a pin in Jonah for a minute so that we can get everybody else caught up to that morning. But that feels good. I want to go around the table and just poll you guys to find out if you want to do anything in the remainder of that night before we go to Friday morning. If you have any gaze into the abyss, any other kind of like things you want to do, let's get it on the table. Lilith, what do you think?
I think that the only thing I can think of is maybe trying to do something else with Margot with that information that we just learned about. I think we'd be pretty excited to act on it pretty quickly. Yeah.
Margot, what do you think?
Yeah, at least if nothing else, now that Adeline told us about Sheriff Nichols and Miss Forsyth kind of being responsible for everyone just forgetting about what's going on, that, it's almost like you have to have a little research party or something. So I don't know if we have a montage at the little local coffee shop that's open late with a Chromebook, and we're going through stuff and just making notes or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, and some basic information. Sheriff Nichols and Catherine Forsyth, their families have lived in Mercy Falls for a long time, going way back. Okay, like back to like maybe even as far back as like the Camptown days, right? Really, they've been around for a long time. You don't know, Sheriff Nichols and Catherine Forsyth don't have any like particular relationship themselves to each other. They obviously know each other, and they've been, they grew up together. Presumably, they went to school together, but like they're not like, they don't hang out. They don't have like a life. Both are never married, never had kids, and both do occasionally leave town at the same time, usually about once a year. They both go, like their vacations kind of line up. That's something that happens. But those are things you can discover pretty easily just by talking to your folks or doing some research, right? So we'll just kind of leave it at that. What about you, Ellen? Anything you want to do that night?
I've got a scene, so I imagine that this is just a descriptor. I imagine that she gets back in, it's late, sneaks back up to her room. She's got, a nice bed, and it's got, some of those under the bed drawers and things, and then there's junk shoved under it as well, that you can kind of see past the skirting. And I imagine that you see her kind of bend down and kind of just slide like a snake in under the bed, it kind of twists, and that's her comfort place, because it's like the grave.
Good, I love it. It's good. Is that a gaze into the abyss by chance?
No, I think that's just her hiding.
Okay, yeah. Sounds good. I didn't know if like maybe getting close to the grave like triggered something or whatever, or close to the
No, but let me think about that for later. That's a really good point.
Yeah. Awesome. It's the next day. Yule Ball is tonight. And Ellen, Miss Forsyth is still running homeroom. And, I think you're all there. Well, she's coming. Well, I'll give you guys a chance to have scenes before Miss Forsyth arrives. But of particular interest to Lilith and Margot, Miss Forsyth is going to be there for homeroom, right? Like she has been ever since Mr. Thompson was put in jail. And there's a really good chance that like she's going to be here again this morning. So with all that said, any scenes we want in homeroom, like with any of the kids? Any last ditch attempts to get someone to go to Yule Ball with Ellen? Anything like that?
No, actually, I think Ellen is taking advantage. She's telling herself that it's a way to avoid being seen, and everybody knows. I mean, everybody knows that she doesn't have a date, and they're all going to be snickering at her, like Lilith and all of them, and so she actually goes and waits outside of Sister Mary's office and doesn't go to homeroom.
Doesn't go to homeroom. Okay, good. All right, hold that thought. Fraser, is that an IRL bathroom break? Okay, we could take one now. It hasn't been quite an hour, but we can take one. Do a quick 2-minute.
So I'm disappointed that Ellen is skipping homeroom, because I was totally going to try to talk Ben into asking her to go to the Yule Ball with him, just to see what would happen.
Well, they might meet in a hall sometime, or lunch or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can still do that. There's
yep.
Especially now that I'm not there.
It's even easier. You're right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Ben will be less flustered, maybe.
Because Ben got told, what was it? The meetup place was fuck off, I think, that Jonah gave him last time for the posse to go together.
Yeah, that was pretty hilarious. But poor Ben. Poor Ben.
Yeah. It's still one of my favorite things ever is that scene where, was it Ellen and I can't remember who was in the Camaro with Chad, and it was Serena, and they come down the street, and I'm back from the dad, and Chad's freaking out. And Ben goes out the window, hey, and I'm like, oh, hi Ben, and then we go all back to this really intense discussion. It was one of my favorite moments in the whole thing. It was like the sort of surreal. It was just, it totally encapsulated how weird Mercy Falls is.
Yeah. And a CW show too, right? Like in Vampire Diaries, they would totally do that. They'd just be like,
yep.
They'd just be like all pissed at each other, and suddenly one of them would be like, what?
So Ellen is going to go wait outside the office. That's good. We'll get to that. And what about Margot, Jonah, Lilith? What are you guys doing during homeroom before Catherine Forsyth arrives?
Well, what I would like to do is I'd like to spend a little time before homeroom settles down with Ben. Go, kind of like, I couldn't help but notice that you were talking to Jonah about, going stag to the Yule Ball, but poor Ellen, I think she kind of likes you. Maybe you should, you should ask her to go, or, if you're too nervous, I'll go ask for you. But I think it'd be better if you did it.
I'd like, out of character, I'd like for you to go ask. So I'm kind of here for that. He says, well, I just have like one concern. I mean, Ellen seems really nice, but I just have like one concern about her and I going to Yule Ball together.
Yeah.
Well, she's really tall. And I know I haven't hit my growth spurt yet. That's what my mother says. But well, it just, I don't know. Like, I feel like it might be a little weird. Like, I don't know. We look like we walk in looking like a lowercase b or something. I'm not sure, but it could be.
I
really
reach
strange.
over and put my hand on his shoulder. I'm like, Ben, I'm going to tell you something right now, and it's probably the most important thing you're ever going to learn in school. Don't give a shit what other people think. Just try to be happy, dude. Look, if you're interested in going with Ellen, hell, I'll go ask her for you. And hell, you guys could come along with me and Justin. It'll be a good party. We'll have fun.
Austin, yeah.
Austin.
He's like, okay, yeah, that'd be great. My mom thinks that I should go with the group anyway. She's read lots of statistics about like teens on prom night and similar nights. Things getting a little out of hand, and well, I think going in a group would be the safest thing. It's too bad we can't get Jonah to go with us, right? I mean, I feel. He looks over at Jonah. Maybe you're there, Jonah, looking like brooding and irritated or something. I don't know. Or maybe you're not there. I don't know. But
I don't think I'm there yet.
Okay. He's like, I just, well, I just really, really, I really care about Jonah's mom, and I don't want to see her be upset because Jonah is, I mean, he's he's kind of breaking her heart, you know? And I just feel so bad.
Jonah is just about Jonah, Ben. I don't see
Aunt
any
Rhodey
way he's
and Tony.
No, they're just window dressing, whatever. He doesn't actually care about those guys. They're just there to prove how great Jonah is. Come on. Have you ever seen him do anything for anyone that doesn't benefit? He is all about Jonah, Jonah, Jonah.
Okay. Well, I guess I just
Hell, yeah, we can ask him. You might want to put like some mud swirls on your cheeks or something. He might pay attention to you then.
I mean, I know Jonah's like into some bad stuff, and I know he's, I mean, I've only ever tried to be his friend, and he just treats me like crap. I know that. I don't know why. We've been neighbors our whole lives, and every time I've ever tried to be a friend to him, every time I've ever tried to just be neighborly or whatever, he's always just like just taking a dump on me. I can't figure it out. But I don't know. My mom says that like people like that just, we have to just keep trying, we got to keep trying.
Ben, you're a better person than I will probably ever be. You want to try again, go for it. Just don't be surprised when Jonah is Jonah.
He's like, Yule Ball's tonight. And I mean, I guess Ellen will do.
Whoa. That sort of attitude, you're not going to have a very good date, Ben.
I'm sorry. I mean, she's really nice. Yeah, I didn't mean it that way.
She is nice. She'll be, I'll talk to her when she comes into homeroom here for you, okay?
He's like, oh, I actually saw her. She's out. I don't think she's coming to homeroom. I saw her over at the administration office. She's got some kind of meeting.
Huh. Okay. Well, I'll be back in a bit. And I get up and just walk out with my backpack.
So Sarah sits down, Lilith, and she's like, so I've been thinking about what we're going to wear tonight. And I was thinking, since we're going as friends, I thought it would be fun if we had some kind of like matching outfit, or we went with some kind of theme, just make it like a fun thing. What do you think? What do you think about ugly Christmas sweaters?
to a ball? I don't know about that. What about
it would be funny. Come on. Like everyone would expect us to, everybody else is going to be showing up in like gowns, and then we show up in these like big ugly sweaters. Like that'd be hilarious.
I think it would be funny, but then we have to spend the whole night in sweaters dancing. Right?
That's not her laughing, it's me laughing. She's like, well, it was just an idea. I mean, what do you think? What should we do?
I think you should dress to the nines, and then we'll all dress like in like a pantsuit, like David Bowie 80s style, and we'll just like mess with people's expectations.
Oh, I get it. Right. That's cool. Like you're the guy.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that'll be fun. So I mean, maybe like you can come to my house, or I can come to your house, a few hours before. We can kind of get this worked out.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds great. And then yeah, I think this is gonna
I think I'm gonna push on your awkward, because she's kind of like saying, you want to come over to my house, and maybe you're interpreting that a different way or whatever. I want you to keep it cool.
Okay, sounds good. Cool. Is
cold.
Yeah, -1.
And tell me what you're afraid of. Like, why? How can your awkwardness get you in trouble here?
I think after that experience in the forest, she definitely thinks that she's like probably bisexual or something, and there might be like a stigmatism about that. that might come up. Oh, 4 is 8, -1 is 7.
Okay.
Barely.
I will tell you how your actions would leave you vulnerable, and you can choose to back down or go through with it. I think I would like to suggest that, like, if you if you agree to go over to her house, you might betray in this moment that, like, you have other intentions with Sarah that she is not aware of, right?
Right.
And so I'll let you decide whether you want to take her up on that offer or not.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think even if she stumbles, she's going to try to deal with the situation. Because I think the way that it worked out, she sort of probed a little and sort of found out that Sarah's at least not into her in that way. But I think that she's still trying to process what all of this stuff means for her. So even muddling through something like that, it will be a good experience for her.
So right now in this moment, like when she says, "So you want to come over to my house at like 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock?"
Yeah, I think she
like. What do you do or say that, like, makes it seem like you're particularly anxious or excited to do that or whatever, right?
Yeah, I think she blushes for a second, and it seems like for that moment she's going to be the old Lilith, but then she, like, darts her hand out and puts it on Sarah's, and she's like, "That sounds great." Like, she makes a split decision, and
does your hand linger for just a little too long?
Yeah, and it's also like showing that she's way too overeager even still. Like, even still, yeah. Sarah's probably not stupid and was like, "We're going as friends," right? And Lilith is still like, you know,
right. Yeah. I think your hand lingers a little too long, and she kind of like looks at you, like gives you a little like kind of like, okay, and pulls your hand away. Right. Yeah. Jonah, when do you arrive?
I think I'll arrive a little bit late, but I think that before, like on the way to school, I think Rhodey comes across me.
So yeah, I'm gonna have a scene with Rhodey.
Maybe not like an entire scene. I don't know, but yeah. Well, so like
at school or on the way?
Like, on the way to school, like he's walking to school, and I think he's like walking down this road, and I think I step out of the trees.
Nice.
And I'm still naked.
Are you trying to do this to where he can't like hear you or see you or what?
No, I think he definitely notices me.
Okay. And yeah, he's like, and you still don't have any clothes on, is that what you said?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still naked.
He's like, "Oh my God, Jonah!" And he runs up to like hug you because I think he thought you were dead, right?
Yeah. No, I'm gonna backhand him, send him flying.
Roll a volatile, lash out physically.
Oh man, that is a 9.
You harm him, but choose one.
I think he learns something about my true nature, and
good. Mark a string.
Yeah, they get a string on me. Yeah, so I send him flying, and then I walk up to him, and I think I grab him by like his throat and like lift him in the air, and I tell him, "You failed me. You were supposed to have my back, and you ran." And then I like bring him closer, and I'm like, "Don't do that again." And I just throw him against the tree.
Nice.
And then I think what happens is he gives me like his sweater and his gym shorts to wear to school. And he has like some sandals in there for the locker room. And so that's what I show up wearing in class. And he's obviously like a little fucked up.
Right. Yeah. Like he's been like, I think he's probably got like a bruise on his face, right? Like
right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Good. All right. Well, let's have that.
And so yeah.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I walk in first, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I go and sit at my desk.
Do you look kind of ridiculous because you're wearing a sweater and gym shorts?
I look like a mess because I didn't even take a shower, right?
Yeah.
Like I've got like mud on me still.
I got this. Chad is there, right? Chad is there, of course. And Chad, as soon as you walk in, like Chad just begins like he points at you and just begins laughing. He's like, okay, what the fuck happened to you? What are you wearing?
I walk right over to him and punch him right in the face.
Lash out physically again.
Oh, this is a 3.
Mark an XP.
That gets me an improvement.
So you go to, I think you go to take a swing, and he just stands up. He blocks your fist, and then he just like pow, like pops you like an uppercut on the jaw. And I think it sends you reeling, and you actually slam your head up against Miss Forsyth's desk too. So it's like bam, and then boom, and you're kind of down. I'm gonna give you 2 harm on that, and I think you pass out. I think you just go unconscious.
This is in front of everyone.
In front of everybody. But meanwhile, Margot, you didn't see any of that because you were going to go talk to Ellen. So let's have that scene.
So Ellen, what does it look like with you sitting out there in the hall?
I imagine I've got my stuff, my pulled together, still want to be interesting, thrift store, cool, earthy crunchy that looks really put on and way too much and overdone. And just sitting there with my bag with all kinds of buttons that I found that don't make any sense. And I'm waiting in that one of those chairs, the plastic chairs with just the metal frame, sitting outside of Sister Mary's office, waiting for her.
Margot will come up and like, heard you were down here and see if you're all right. Ellen?
What? It's want to see if what?
Just checking to see if you're okay.
I've got an appointment. Not feeling well. We got to touch Sister Mary.
Have you talked with her before?
Yeah.
She's weird.
They're all weird.
Adults, yeah. So, you going to the Yule Ball tonight? Because, I'm going with Austin, and it's not like a date type thing, really. It's just that, we're friends. And, I was talking with Ben, and Ben's kind of interested in, going with you. You come with us and Ben. So now
I want to interject real quickly.
Yeah.
Is Margot showing this sort of social interest in you, Ellen, possibly a turn on? Is that something?
It was until she said Ben.
Because Ben is the opposite of
yeah. And that's the thing, right? is there's that, and then there's the crush of Ben, and she says, oh, now I know I've hit the bottom. There is nothing I'd like more to go and spend an evening listening to Ben pine over his boyfriend for the entire evening. It'd be just like every lunch hour for the last 6 months.
Well, how about this then? Because I was trying to tell Ben that Jonah, he should just give up on him. Of course, you're right. Ben won't. What if we do something to show what a jerk Jonah is at the Yule Ball tonight? Just as a group. Maybe wake Ben up. Maybe he can move on. He's a good guy. He's just, I don't know why he's got this fixation on Jonah.
And he's so short. Gonna look
just
so
own
weird.
it. How many guys are there that are tall enough for you, Ellen? Okay, let's put it this way. If you could have anyone you wanted go to the Yule Ball with you, who would that be?
And she goes, I'll let me think about this. Okay. I have to talk to Sister Mary first,
Okay.
but
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. She really cuts you off when you ask who she wants to go with. She's like afraid to say, and puts her hands up.
Okay. All right. No pressure. No.
Sorry. Just, I'm not. Let me. Okay.
Yep. Nope. We're cool. No pressure. I'll talk to you. I'll check in with you later on.
Okay.
Lunchtime is probably drop dead time for figuring out what doing tonight, but
I'll check back. Dead time?
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
After that, it's probably unlikely you'll be able to make any plans for the Yule Ball that involve being with another person.
Okay.
And I'm just going to turn and walk away, ignoring her discomfort with that.
Good. Lilith, what do you do when you see Chad? Jonah went up to take a swing and Chad deflected and knocked Jonah out. What do you do?
Yeah, as soon as Jonah's head hits the table, I think Lilith is up and she puts her hand on Chad's chest and starts trying to push him back. And she's like, "What the fuck, Chad?"
And he turns at you and he's like, "Look, Braveheart, I don't have any time for you. So please just go sit down. I'm fucking on fire right now. I'm a fucking loose cannon. I'm on a fuse. It's about to blow. Whoo!
Oh my god.
Jonah is still laid out on the classroom floor.
Yeah. Oh, I see, Chad. So you're such a badass that you just need to prove your point by hitting a guy who's clearly going through some shit, and then you threaten a girl.
He just took a swing at me. Did you not see that? Come on.
The guy's all already scratched up and bleeding, and he's got some dirt on him, and you're like, well, I should probably punch him out. That's what I should do.
He's like,
what do you got? The IQ of a fetus, Chad? Go swim in a goddamn pool.
Is that a shutdown? Go. Yeah, you can shut Chad down. Roll plus gold.
Oh, and I'm not good at that. We'll see.
What a weird
Maybe I'm gonna
you have the IQ of a fetus. Go swim in a pool.
My God. I rolled snake eyes too.
And I think he.
If he gets mad, I could even say a quip about his balls being really small because he's on steroids or something too, right?
You say whatever. I think what you say is you're a weird put down. He doesn't even understand it. He's just like, what? And he's like, what? And then he kind of looks at you and he's like, is that some sort of weird lesbian put down? Is that what that is? Is that what's going on? And then he looks at Sarah and he's like, yeah, by the way, Sarah, it's totally obvious that Lilith wants to, do a little bit of action on you at the Yule Ball. So just in case, so it's perfectly clear to everybody here, I'll wear a suit and you wear a dress. I can tell where this is going. That's all I'm saying.
So I guess I take a condition.
I'm giving you a condition, yes. And you get to mark an XP as well.
Yeah, I marked an XP from failing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm at 4 out of 5 now. I've never acted out physically, and I don't know how a Fae is strength-wise, but I find it interesting that she might do that if possible. Or
like you want to punch Chad.
Yeah.
I'm into that, but let's figure out what your condition is, right?
Yeah.
I think we're just gonna put
other something.
Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna put I think he just called you a lesbian, which in high school in Mercy Falls, Washington, might be a put down, right? So it might be a thing you don't want hanging over your head, at least right now. So,
So the condition is lesbian.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can put it in quotes too, because you're not actually a lesbian, right? It doesn't seem like you're.
Oh, it looks like I can't because you're in the field.
Oh, am I? Oh, I'll take away. Actually, I feel like you should go even more hard there. Let's go super hard. Let's because I think he's trying to insult you, and so we're gonna say dyke. Okay.
No, yeah. I'll put it here then. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I think that's fair. It was actually.
So it sounds like are you gonna punch him?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah, I think she shoots a look to Sarah and then gets super pissed. It's one thing insulting just her, but trying to call out Sarah as well. And I think she has a lot of pent up anger too, with Sarah leaving and all this stuff. And
Chad is the literal worst. Why wouldn't you punch Chad? I mean, it's just
and I think it's person. I think it's interesting too that we don't really know if a Fae is strong in this fiction or not either, right? She might not even know her own strength, maybe.
Guess we'll find out. Roll.
Yeah, exactly. So that is volatile, and I have a 1. I'm better at that than shutting people down. So 4, 5, 6. Nope. Oh wait. Oh,
do you have a string on Chad?
No, I was looking for one, but no.
Because that would give you +1.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you just go crazy on him, right? I think you just get really angry and you do the whole you slap him and you're punching him, just doing the whole thing, right? Doing that whole thing, right? It's not a single clean punch, it's more of an outburst, right? A frenzied outburst. And Sarah's like, Lilith, oh my God. And everyone is standing up and going crazy. Jonah, you're still unconscious on the floor. And and you just feel you're going nuts, and you hear you kind of hear a voice in your head, right? You hear a voice in your head that says, Lilith, can you hear me? You don't need to do this, Lilith. Just calm down. Do you understand? And I think you kind of come out of it a little bit. And Sister Mary Edward Price has her hands on your shoulders. Chad and everybody else is just standing there completely what the WTF, right? And Sister Mary Edward Price is there and she says, are you okay? Do you need a few minutes? Do you want to come by my office and just relax for a minute?
Jeez. I think she deflates visibly, and then I think she just says I need a minute, and then just goes to the washroom.
Okay. Good. Now you're on her radar, so. And she'll come and somebody will come and help you up, Jonah, get you like
it's probably Rhodey.
Right. Yeah.
Comes in all fucked up and helps make it up.
We're gonna have the scene here with Ellen and Sister Mary Edward Price, and then we're gonna maybe go to break after that. So, or I'll pull the table, figure out where we're going from here, and then we'll take a break. You've heard word has reached you of the chaos in homeroom, Ellen, and that's the stuff that. And Sister Mary Edward Price even sees you at a certain point. She says, "I'll be right back, dear. I have to go take care of something," and she runs to go deal with the situation in homeroom. Right. Her door's open. Conveniently.
Oh, I love rooms. I slide in
to her office. Yeah. Like she just leaves and forgets to close it. So,
Well, that's my power.
Right, yeah. You're in. What do you do?
Oh, I like looking in things, so I'll go.
I'll give you the basic layout: desk, filing cabinet, a few papers, like
drawers. I'm opening drawers.
Yeah. She has in her desk drawers is nothing super exciting. She's got files on kids, like and notes about like the sorts of things that.
Does she have a file on Lilith and Jonah?
I don't know. No, actually, I don't think she does.
Damn.
She does have one on Thomas, however.
That's like I don't even want to touch that. It's like I kind of maybe start to, but it's like it's hot and I don't want to touch it. So I'll back away from that visibly.
She's also got a filing cabinet. The filing cabinet's one of those like sort of 4 stacked, numbers, right? And look, one of them is just kind of gently cracked open.
Oh yeah, it's all look
Take
in.
a peek. Yeah, she's got like folders, big, thick folders. One says Sudan. One says Yemen. One says Appleton, Wisconsin. Some others. Santa Juanita, California.
Push open one of the American ones, kind of.
White Spray, Colorado.
Look inside.
Twilight Bay. Yeah. She gets around if you thumb through it. She makes references in her notes to this community experiencing troubles, working through trauma with various members of this community. There are some pictures, gory pictures of murders, pictures of beasts, werewolves, even things like that. It's a little disturbing. Keep her cool.
Yeah. Let's see. That's an 11.
You get to ask me a question. What situation? In addition to keeping her cool.
What has she hidden here that I could pocket that is cool?
What kinds of things are you looking for?
I don't know. I like shiny things and weird things, and I'm going to put myself in this woman's hands in just a minute. So I want to have something that makes me feel like I have a little bit of control.
I like that. In one of her drawers, in the bottom drawer, also conveniently open, there is a black case, like a doctor's bag. You recognize it. She had it the other day. If you pop that open, inside there are various tools and things, and also like little little like hard leather cases that have like jars of fluids and liquids and things in them. And there's one that's marked holy water.
I'll take one of the other ones because I want that cool leather case and it's got all kinds of liquids.
You can take the whole case. It's like the size of like a pencil case.
Yeah, I'll take that, and I open my zip backpack and I jam it down in the bottom of that, put my lunch on top of it, and zip, and then go and sit down.
You leave the office completely.
Oh no, I'll sit inside the office. I'll shut everything, and I'll just sit like I went in to wait for her.
Good.
Because I'm not smart enough to go back out in the hallway.
I'm going to cut away from that. I want to just go around the table and figure out. We're going to have that scene between Ellen and Sister Mary Edward Price still, but everybody else, I just want to find out where you want to go from here. Lilith, what do you have going
on? What I'm thinking of is, so I just spent my whatchamacallit, my 2 failures to get an advancement and instead of going Wild Hunt, I went Unashamed because I think I wanted to just like own that label. And I picture her in the washroom trying to find like scissors, and then she's gonna cut her hair into sort of like that like the side like buzzed on the side, and then side, I'm not sure what it's called, but to just sort of like own the label and just
like Kira McGran wears her hair, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And then just kind of just be like, fuck you then, like label me whatever you want.
Okay, awesome. I love it. What about you, Margot?
I need to check back in with Ellen at lunch and
okay, good.
see what the date plans are.
The clock is ticking on Yule Ball, right?
Yep. Got to have a decision before drop dead time.
And what about you, Jonah? Jonah, you snap out of it, and you're probably like taken to the principal's office just cursorily and then let go.
Yeah, I think that I just took the mini bodies move. So at lunchtime, Jonah's gonna shake up the Yule Ball matchup scene and and start putting out his guys as potential dates.
I like it. Let's take 5. Okay.
Frasier?
Yes.
So I'm thinking, and I don't know, we'll see how this is, depending on how this Sister Mary thing rolls out.
Mm-hmm.
And let me, this is actually asked, so say yes or no. I was thinking of imposing myself on the Sarah Lilith thing. Like I might go and ask Sarah, since I heard you guys are all going as friends, if I can go with you guys. Would that be okay, or do you want to keep that still separate, the two of you?
No, yeah, that's fine. That's completely fine.
Okay,
I don't know how
if that
Sarah's
sounds
going to
cool.
be feeling right now, though. So we'll see.
Well, and it might give her, she might interpret it as a way out of the duo thing. So
yeah, totally.
Okay. That's assuming I'm still alive after meeting with Sister Mary. Or sorry, still dead after
Well,
meeting
if she wanted to kill you, she probably would have done it in the car.
Fair enough.
And I am down a rabbit hole of that women hairstyles now, just trying to find the name of what that is called.
Yeah, what is that called?
I think it's kind of like a side bob pixie cut is what I'm looking at, but there's a lot of variations, so it's hard.
The first time I saw it was the woman who's on Game of Thrones, who was in the Hunger Games, had that.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, I like that actress too. Yeah.
Yeah, she was really striking on her.
Yeah. I think it'll be. Yeah, it seems like most of the images on Pinterest name it a bob with a shave. So, but some are long pixie with shaved. So I don't know, man.
That image I just linked, is that kind of what you're imagining, or is it shorter on the other side?
Yeah, like that. Exactly like that.
Okay.
So what is that called? Shave side comb over.
I googled for side buzz cut female, and that's what I
got. That's what I did too. Yeah. This one, it's called shaved side comb over, which is what I said. So I'm not too bad. Nice.
So were you talking about Yule Ball date stuff earlier when I came back in?
Yeah, Ellen's gonna hit up Sarah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Assuming I survive.
So me and my gang are gonna hit up all y'all too. FYI.
Tear it up. The U-Ball, I think, is gonna be pretty crazy.
So is the mud plan still on, Jonah?
Oh yeah.
Or has that been okay? Wasn't sure if that got derailed.
But we can't. I mean, we have to at least try to get a date.
Yeah,
this would be cool.
So I like this idea of you doing the sort of like, side fade, flip haircut thing, right?
Yeah.
As a way of almost like taking away the power of this condition, right? Does that make sense?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm gonna let you clear the condition too, since you're taking like immediate, like you're just totally embracing it, right? Or at least your idea of it, right? Whatever that means. Yeah. You're doing what it takes for you to feel like you're taking power back, which I think is great. And I just want to get in your headspace a little bit. Like, how are you feeling as you do this? Like, what do we see on camera?
I think we see her go to the bathroom, and at first she's like just really upset and angry and starts crying, and then she looks at herself in the mirror, and I think just starts to grow more confident with the anger, and then uses the anger to just like maybe go through her purse, grab a pair of scissors, and then just start like cutting. And she'll probably have to get another haircut to make it not shitty, basically the way that
yeah,
she's
okay. It's yeah.
yeah.
You still
But
gonna go with Sarah to the Yule Ball?
if she wants to go, yeah, I think she'll be like, if you don't want to go, it'll be understandable. But you know, we'll see. But at least in terms of what the classroom thinks of her and what they learned about her, I want her to like walk into class with that haircut, showing them like I don't give a fuck, basically.
Yeah. As you kind of do this like not great like job on your hair, like standing there, but this feeling this release, right? Your voluminous red locks, piled on the ground, right, of the bathroom floor.
Yeah, and her hair means a lot to her because it's sort of got that Rapunzel thing, right, where it's
yeah. You hear a woman's voice from behind the bathroom stall, in one of the stalls, bathroom stall door. You don't know how long they've been there, presumably this entire time. And she says, I have to admit, I kind of like that look on you.
Do I know who it is?
The voice sounds familiar, but you don't know for sure.
Oh, I can't place it. Okay, so
well, it sounds kind of familiar, but you're not like 100% sure.
She says thanks, and then turns to look at the stall, and kind of wanders a little closer.
The toilet flushes, and and she says, like, I haven't been here long. Like, don't freak out. I used a non-traditional method of transportation to get here.
Okay.
You might have seen me. You might have seen me a few months ago at that party.
I think the like hairs start to rise on the back of her neck as she's like, the only party I could remember was in the forest.
She's like, the party with all our brothers and sisters, that party.
Oh, I remember. I was starting to think it was a little bit of a dream, but then when I looked in the mirror just now, I kind of saw all of you in me, and that's why I got the courage to do this.
And you see her eye. You see her eye like go up against the like little crack of the stall door.
Oh yeah.
And it's like purple, right? Like kind of a violet purple color.
Yeah.
And she says, "Oh, trust me, we all wanted to be in you that day."
Did you just come through the toilet?
Keep your cool.
I think that's fair.
What do you hope will not happen here? I mean, she's being a little like double entendre-ish, right? Being a little like, being a little creeper. She may have just traveled to the toilet. It's a little
yeah. I think she hasn't fully processed that scene. Like, I think in her mind, she has kind of chalked it up to a dream, and it's still kind of given her power from experiencing those things, and she still feels like it was real, but it was also had that like crazy surreal quality, right? With like the folklore music, and we went through like a time portal, and or not like a time portal, but a portal of some sorts and stuff. So like I think in her mind, this is the moment that she knows that all of that is real. And yeah, so I think she just wants to
roll call,
not freak out, basically. Oh, nice. I rolled a 12 minus 1 is 11.
You keep your cool. You can ask me a question whenever you want. And you get +1 forward when acting on it too. She says, you may not remember me specifically. It was a pretty crazy afternoon. There was a lot going on, a lot of people. It's like when you go to, in your world, like a convention, and you meet tons and tons of people, and you shake their hands, and then, you can't be expected to remember all their faces. But I remember you, Lilith. This is still behind the door of the stall door.
Yeah.
She's like, you, having lived in the human world for so long, I thought you tasted like all the really wonderful things that I love about your world. Like a bowl of Lucky Charms.
And I thought you all tasted like freedom.
How poetic. So, this new look, I'm into it. Honestly, the thing you were rocking before was a bit traditional, a little on the nose as far as like fake kind go, right? We have moved on. I'm glad you've moved on too.
Am I going to see you all again?
Maybe, if you want. You could come see me right now. And the little like little turning lock thing goes.
I think that fits with what like her headspace is in. Like I think she's all about reclaiming power that seems to have been like evaporating. So I think she opens the door and she goes in.
Yeah. This Faye, you may recognize her from that day. It's unclear. There are a lot of people. We'll name her. Her name is Genevieve. And I better make a note of that or I'll forget. I'm going to give her a string on you.
Fair.
She's pretty. I mean, she's a fae. She's pretty hot. I think she has like her hair is dyed to match her eyes, right? This kind of like wild, kind of purple color, right? Really kind of like modern haircut, kind of what you have attempted this afternoon or this morning, and she like slams the stall door, right, like behind you, just kind of pushes you up against it, and we have that scene. What's your sex move?
Oh, that's a good question. It is when you lie naked with another, you can ask them for a promise. If they refuse, take 2 strings on them.
Think of your promise. We'll come back. We'll do the afterglow afterwards. Just to keep everything kind of tidy, I want to go ahead and sort out the stuff with Sister Mary Edward and Ellen. So you're there. She comes in and she's like, "Whew, what a morning! What a morning indeed!
Yep.
The wounds of this town run deep, Ellen. I tell you what." And she comes and she sits down and she's like, she grabs she goes into her drawer and she pulls out like a big like container of candy. She's like, and she kind of sets it down. She's like, "You want something?"
Nope, no, thank you, ma'am.
And I'm going to push on your transparent condition a little bit. She says, she looks in the drawer and she kind of looks at you and she says, Ellen, have you been going through my things?
No.
Keep her cool. What do you hope will not happen here?
I hope she won't call me on that and search my bag.
Yeah, go for it.
That's a 9.
I have to tell you how your actions would leave you vulnerable, and you can choose to back down or go through with it. If you lie, she will know you're lying, and it may not put you guys on the best footing here. If you just come out and tell the truth, that's a problem too, but she's probably not going to search her bag, though, if you're honest with her. She says, are you sure about that, Ellen?
Oh, man. Okay, I went through the drawers. So weird.
I thought so. And then she stands up and she goes and closes the door, like make sure it's closed. She even like does the whole like lower the mini blinds thing, right? She comes back around and she says, well, I suppose I don't have to hide it from you since you've seen so much. But I am sometimes asked to go to places and sort things out, let's say. Sometimes I have to deal with people who, I think you know the type of people I'm referring to. People who are not normal. Sometimes I have to help them. I have to help them find out how to be normal, or if they can't, well, we take more unsavory measures. Do you understand what I'm saying to you, Ellen?
So you're not like La Fontaine.
Bellefontaine. He was, he was getting close to figuring out what's going on in Mercy Falls. That's true. But phone call, a couple of phone calls, clears that right up. He's no longer anything to worry about.
Where's Serena?
We have something of a problem, Ellen. I know what you are. You told me everything I need to know, and I did a little bit of research last night. I know that you keep coming back. Do I have it right?
Yeah. I go to school every day.
Okay. That's the way you want to play it. I'm going to give you that space, Ellen. It's fine. But let's just say I have a good handle on your situation. I've dealt with your kind before. It's tricky, you know? Bloodsucker, lycanthrope, witches, they're easy, right? They're really easy. There are tried and true ways of cleansing a community from them. You're a little trickier. Your kind is a little trickier because, frankly, you're really, really good at being murdered.
I will stand up.
I would like for you to keep your cool again.
I will definitely roll for keep my cool here.
What are you afraid is going to happen?
I'm afraid she's going to keep going on. I don't want to hear any more of what she has to say. That's a 13.
All right. Get an insight. What do you want to
know? Does she know what happened to Serena?
Yes, she does.
That's all I need to know is that she does know something.
She does know, yeah.
Okay.
Now, whether she had anything to do with it, that's unclear, but she does know.
I grab my bag up. I turn to her and I go, "Cunt!" And then I throw the door open and I storm out into the hall.
Nice. And as you're walking off, she calls at you. She's like, "Ellen, it's not going to get any better. You know that, right?"
Maybe for you.
You could leave. Good. Let's go
I should pause here to tell you one of the things I talked with Fraser about is, and this kind of plays into this, so this is something to set up. Now wanting to take control, I may, if I have the opportunity later on in a scene, ask Sarah about pushing in on the girls' date with her and Lilith. Just to put that, I just want to set that up because we had talked about that before you came back.
I think we're gonna have a chance to do that. Like, in fact, we can even frame up with Margot and stuff in the lunchroom, and Margot being keenly interested in like what's going on at Yule Ball. So.
Oh yeah, I've got stuff to tell her.
Yeah. Let's just have that scene. Margot, why don't you frame it up? Where you at?
So I'm assuming see Ellen sitting by herself over at the Loners Misfit Outcast table, like usual. With what, you bring a bag lunch, Ellen?
Oh yeah.
And I'll come up with my tray of subsidized school lunch and sit down across from you and like, so about tonight.
Chip. I reach in my bag. I pull out one of those Oreo packs. I slide it across. I go, "You can have this if you will shut the fuck up for a minute."
Ellen is done with everyone's shit.
Margot grabs the
Is that a shutdown? Is that a shutdown? Is that a shutdown? Like,
oh yeah, let's
do it.
See what happens with that. That's a 10.
Indeed. Choose one from the list.
I want to gain a string on Margot because of what I'm about to say to her. So, Margot, Sister Mary, she's some kind of monster hunter. And she thinks I'm some kind of monster. And she thinks other people here are vampires and werewolves and shit, and that she's gonna deal with them here. So this is lunatic nun here who seems to be running everything, and it's all crazy. And I know she knows what happened to Sarah.
Margot has
Serena,
just Margot had just eaten a bit of the Oreo cookie, and she's like coughs, and some of it sprays down. She's like, "Wait, what?" She knows what happened to Serena, and you like Margot just doesn't even like. Sure, I know about all the other stuff, but what happened to Serena?
I don't know, but she knows. I was talking to her. You can tell.
Yeah, well, just so you know, like Lilith and I went over to the hotel where she's staying at last night. And like Lilith, like kind of had this weird.
For a second, she's thinking of all sorts of weird sex stuff with the nun, and that this is all going to get weird and creepy. And what?
We snuck into her room, and Lilith kind of like she was looking at the cross that the sister keeps up on her wall, and had this weird fit. And she had this vision of Sister Mary, like
Lilith's a psychic.
She's something. Not exactly sure what, but she's definitely something. But yeah, that nun. is bad news. And
just as a quick point of
maybe
order,
if she's a psychic, she can like set the nun on fire.
I'm going to interject real quickly. Jonah, you can enter the scene whenever you want. Just definitely.
Yeah, I think I definitely see Jonah kind of walking into the lunchroom. I think he doesn't have his usual confidence, like his usual gait. He seems a bit more fragile, I think. And he sits down at one of the tables, and I think Rhodey and Tony actually go without him to go get the trays of food and bring them back. And of course, they do their normal thing where they put all the food in the middle of the table and they all just kind of go at it, except they're like trying to get Jonah to eat.
You have no appetite.
He has no appetite.
Your innards are stuffed with fries.
Yeah, nope. I think he even like maybe like takes a bite of pizza and like swallows it. But like can't keep it down and like spits it out on the floor next to him or something.
Ooh, that'll freak Ellen the fuck out.
Just him like puking up the pizza, or
yeah, because that's what she has to do.
You do. That's right. Yeah. You do that too. Do you want to keep her cool there? Oh, you're muted, Paul.
Sure, and I'm going to try and shift myself so that Margot is between me. You know how you do that, where you put somebody between so they don't see.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, that makes sense because that's what you do, right? When you're
9.
Mm-hmm. You could choose to back down or go through with it. I think Jonah will notice you like reacting so weirdly to him, you know, and maybe you'll even and pushing on transparent here a little bit. Maybe you'll even kind of give up the ghost, so to speak. To Jonah. Jonah might learn like what you are. He might learn that maybe you guys have a connection in this way.
Yeah, I can't remember if he saw me get murdered that night.
I think
the only person who was aware of you being dead was Sabrina, right?
And Margot.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah.
Twice over because Margot shot me, get shot in the head. Chad is
Yeah.
also aware that I am.
Right. Yeah. But all that's been papered over, right?
Yeah.
Like Sister Mary Edward Price has done her work.
So I think I'm a little worried that he's doing that to make fun of me. Like he knows, and he's doing that to fuck with me.
I think what you see is that like as he like looks at you, his eyes kind of have that little bit of a hollow look that your eyes have.
Then I'll how about I give you a string on me? Does that seem like a reasonable cost on this?
That seems like a reasonable cost. Yeah, I'm into that. That seems like a reasonable cost.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. I mean that fits with what I said. Like basically Jonah will like know something, right? Like about you.
I think what happens is Jonah like gets up, and like I think when he gets up, like the other two like kind of like look at each other and like rush up by him. And I think he walks over to so I walk over to Ellen, and I have Rhodey and Tony in tow, and I think I sit on the table and kind of like I'm bundling a little bit inside of my hoodie, but I look Ellen in the eyes and I'm like, so I heard you need a date for tonight.
Oh,
motherfucker.
Jonah has a weird sort of popularity, right? Ben, you know.
Yeah, Margot like looks up like, what?
Do you have a string you want to pull it?
I'm actually going to. What I do is I like turn to Rhodey and Tony, and I'm like, these guys are looking for some company, and I am totally using my new move, Many Bodies. When you promise one of your gang members to someone, add 2 to your roll to turn them on.
Oh, nice. So you want to turn Ellen on first and then pull strings, even though you already have the string.
And
yeah,
I will tell you what's flashing through Ellen's mind is you and your gang being absolute shitheels to me in the car. And
it's not where my mind went, but yeah.
that is, you know, that is certainly the thing that she has in her mind as you're coming over. But
do it, yeah. Like, this is interesting. Yeah, roll turn someone on, like, and it kind of makes sense because this is like a level of like weird attention that Ellen has kind of always wanted, but now that she's getting it, it's like
freaking out.
Okay, that is turn someone on is with
hot.
What's that? Hot. Okay. So that is a 7, 8, 10.
You got that string, and then you have to choose a reaction from the list there, Ellen.
Probably the moment when the fake food that she has eaten so far throws up on the table, wet sandwich.
Oh, Margo, I'm so sorry.
Hits in Margot's lunch, right in, you know, all of it, you know, the last Oreo and stuff. And I just stand up and I do that thing where I stand up because it's probably the tables with the chairs. And the chair goes back, and I'm trying to find a way to run out of the room because
Jonah, spend the string.
Yeah, I will totally spend a string for you to notice how hot my boys are.
And presumably agree to go with them to Yule Ball, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And Tony is
totally
pretty.
And you get an XP for taking that offer, Ellen.
Tony's pretty bearable.
Tony's probably the hottest guy in the damn school.
God. This is tough because she is freaking out.
And yet, what a day you've had.
What a day. Oh my God.
XP. It's not nothing. But that advances you too. So
yeah.
If you accept Tony's move, then you move yourself.
Can you cut to Fraser and give me just a minute here? Cut back.
Well, I would pull Margo. Margo, I just want to check in with you. What are you thinking? How are you feeling right now?
So Margo, first of all, she's like...
Margo often feels like the only normal person in this whole goddamn group. I just want to throw that out.
She just shoves her tray away from her going, what the? And then she looks up at Jonah, and the boys came with you, right, Jonah? I'm like,
yeah.
Shouldn't you guys just like be like going out in the woods and stripping down and doing your mud thing? What's with all of a sudden this interest in Ellen and stuff?
And I think when you say that mud thing, you notice Jonah like look down and start feeling his belly in a weird way.
Can we back up? What you just said, like, what's with the sudden interest in Ellen? Is that a shutdown on Ellen? Like, were you inadvertently insulting Ellen?
Well, I wasn't intending to shut down Ellen. I was more shut down on them interacting with Ellen.
Might be both.
But that could be taken a very negative way.
Yeah, I mean, because to me it kind of read like, why are you suddenly interested in Ellen? As if like that's shocking.
Why would you be? Which isn't,
yeah.
No, it's more about why are you jerks all of a sudden?
Yeah,
messing with
I don't. It doesn't feel strong enough to shut them down. Though.
Totally wrong, which is the way that high school works, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Like, Ellen, would you hear it that way? Possibly.
Oh God, yeah.
Okay, I think that's an inadvertent shutdown then on Ellen. Ellen's having quite an emotional day. This is what it's like when people pay attention to you, Ellen. This is what you've always wanted.
I don't want this anymore.
Let's see. So that's a 7. That's a 6.
6.
With a -1 on cold.
Unless you spend a string.
Do I? I don't. I have no strings.
Or use a condition, right? You could hit on one of his conditions, couldn't you?
On Ellen's, yeah, that's true.
Or
I mean,
Ellen's,
you could
yeah.
try to bump it up. I mean, she's got traumatized
No,
transparent.
I think petty is the right condition to hit me on.
Yeah.
Because I think I go, yeah, I'll go with Tony.
Nice, a big middle finger. That's good. I like it. Let's go with that. Let's roll with that. That gives you a 7. So choose one from the list below. Do you guys do conditions? Well, and Ellen will give you a condition. So.
I'm going to give you the condition of you're a fool.
What's the condition that you give Margot, Ellen?
I'm going to give Margot protective. Does that sound reasonable? Like she's seen me walk into the lion's den here?
Yeah, she actually kind of feels bad for Ellen. She's seen plenty of outsiders.
Yeah.
She's been an outsider. So, yeah, that'll work.
That's a super easy condition for me to push, too. So very easy challenge. Good. So, yeah, mark your XP, Ellen. Sounds like you're going with Tony and Rhodey, apparently, in a strange configuration date. Possibly Jonah. Jonah's is like a three-way
No,
thing.
actually, what happens right after this is Jonah walks over to Sarah with Rhodey. And he's like, "Oh, Sarah, I heard things were going kind of shaky with your plans, and I was wondering if you might like the idea better of going with Rhodey. You know, he doesn't have anyone for tonight."
Do you have a string on Sarah?
Do I? Let's see. No, but I will just
try to get one. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you present Rhodey to make him seem optimally attractive here?
And
I'll let you also tap. I'll also let you tap Lilith's condition for a bonus if you kind of work that in a little bit, right? Because Lilith is like a, Lilith
oh yeah, okay, yeah. I'm like, Lilith doesn't seem like she's really in a good headspace right now. Yeah, I'm like, Lilith's not really in a good headspace. It doesn't seem. I don't know.
She's like,
oh God, I only got a 5.
But you're getting the bonuses though, right? I mean,
that is the total.
The total is 5.
I got snake eyes.
She, she kind of like, she looks at Rhodey and she's like, well, and she kind of like pulls you to the side a little bit, Jonah, and she's like, Jonah, if I'm being honest, yeah, I feel like things are a little weird with Lilith. I think she wanted something that maybe I don't want. I mean, no, it's like, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I kind of want. I was kind of wondering if you have a date for Yule Ball. Ignoring Rhodey.
Poor Rhodey. Jonah is like, no, I don't have a date. And
do you want to go with me to Yule Ball?
Oh man.
She's like, God, Jonah, this is me, Sarah, asking you if you want to go to Yule Ball.
And I think this is when my darkest self kicks in.
Oh yeah. How do you react?
I think I look Sarah dead in the eyes and I'm like, you're not good enough for me. You're garbage.
Ouch.
You should be grateful that I even threw Rhodey at you.
Rhodey gives you a funny look.
You should be grateful. You should be grateful that Lilith even cared about you. You're nothing. You're just some white trash girl pretending to be something more.
Everybody's so harsh right now. This is a harsh group.
That's with cold. Oh man, that's a 10.
Nice. I'll tell you if she has any strings on you. She does not. She has no strings on anybody.
Oh man. I will gain a string on her, and I'll immediately spend it to make her go with Rhodey.
Oh, okay. Roll. Well, so you have to tempt them, and I think I have to tell you like what it would take. So we'll just give me the fiction. Like, how do you like kind of?
I'm like
totally like you know, you've totally like the gamed her or MRA'd her or whatever. Like, how do you?
I think what I do is I look to Rhodey and like head tilt towards her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, this is your chance to shine and be like a hero.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Good. Rhodey's like. He's like, come on, Jonah. He's like, don't pull that red pill bullshit on Sarah. Like, he kind of pushes you away a little bit, you know. He's like, Sarah, look, ignore him. He's a fucking asshole. It'll be fun, right? I mean, I clean up okay, and I'm not a bad looking guy, right? I mean, it's just one night. And Sarah, that's enough. Sarah will say, yeah, all right. Yeah, all right. We're almost at the drop dead hour anyway, so sure.
My big question is Lilith around right now?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, when does Lilith enter the scene? That's what we need to know. That's the simmering tension here. Lilith, do you arrive at lunch at some point?
It would be funny if somebody Snapchatted me that.
We're swinging when you need her.
I'm sure it was Ben.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you see like you see it. You see Sarah like kind of like agreeing to go to the dance with Rhodey. You just had like we're gonna do the. I think maybe like you and Genevieve are looking at it, and she's like, looks like you're without a date.
Yeah, and I think Lilith tells Genevieve that these last few months have been hell without you all. So maybe what you guys should be doing is sticking close to me from now on.
Kevin brings up a good note in the text of, did she promise to go with you? We can say she did. Like if
like the promise could be like, I like us getting a shot of Lilith's mouth close to Genevieve's ear in kind of like a seductress kind of way.
Oh no, I mean, did Sarah promise to go with you, and therefore she's broken the promise, right?
Oh, I didn't write that down, but possibly
we can say you did. It would make sense, right? Like you thought you guys were going. You guys had a contract for a very
it does seem like it is from my point of view most of the time. Like view it that way.
Right, like you interpret things as a contract that maybe other people don't, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to have that vengeance power on Sarah, that could make the Yule Ball very fun.
Yeah, sure. And then I think that sounds great, Ed Flood. And I think Lilith says, stick close to me from now on. And then I think the promise is like, Genevieve, you should go with me. And I think the reason why it's a promise is because Lilith assumes that the Fae don't really like being out in the human world, considering she hasn't seen them for like 2.5 months or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So she's just like, extracting the promise to keep Genevieve a little bit closer to the hip than before.
Yeah, she'll take that promise, and she knows what it means, right? She's very. How does the string exchange work? Who gets what? Or what does the sex move?
If she refuses, then I take 2 strings on her. Otherwise, it's just a promise.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, let's do it. She's like, sure. She's like, Yule Ball. That's pretty funny. We should talk about the pagan origins of various Christian practices.
Yeah.
She's like, I was there.
I like the idea of her telling me this stuff as we walk to the classroom, and I think
What? Oh, can I actually do a thing?
Sure.
I think that all of a sudden in the lunchroom, like, Jonah like makes like a scene kind of out of not being okay, and he like runs out and goes to the locker room, and I think maybe you like see him run by.
Okay. Interesting. I think what I do then is on the way to go after Jonah, I want to stop by the class, and on the chalkboard in big bold words, she writes, "If someone does not want me, it is not the end of the world. But if I do not want me, the world is nothing but endings." And it's sort of like how she clears her condition, and then she goes after Jonah.
I think Genevieve will see Jonah too, and she's like, "Oh, I recognize that guy. He and his buddies are, well, let's just say they're regular destination television for some of us over in the Fae realm. They do some pretty freaky shit."
That's saying something, considering what we got up to. The Fae are like, respect. She's like, so when people go into the forest, do you like watch them?
She's like, oh yeah, we see all kinds of crazy shit. All kinds of crazy shit.
She like cocks her head and she's like, that actually makes a lot of sense.
One part of the forest we can't see very well. A troubling part. But we don't talk about that much. So.
Well, should I know anything about Jonah? Do y'all have any dirt?
What kind of dirt do you want? She kind of leans up against the locker like, this is an interesting proposition.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Jonah, I've always had a sense that Jonah keeps a little bit of something from me, especially since when we crossed over, Jonah was like just disappeared, right? And then at the time, she sort of like blushes a little bit. I kind of lost track of him when we were doing what we were doing, but
she says, I'll tell you this. That time when you first entered our realm with him, he went off to... I need to back up. Jonah, you did get lured by Thomas at some point when you went in the fairy realm, right?
Yeah.
I feel something like that. Like, I feel like that was where it was really revealed who my dark power was.
Right. That's
Like, that's where it all started.
I'm going to suggest that they saw you going into this unseeable place, right? So she says, yeah, he went to that place that we can't see very well. I don't know what he got up to, but I'd be careful with that one, Lilith.
I feel like before I met you guys, I was in the darkness, and if Jonah's there now, maybe I could bring him back too.
Indeed. Let's take a break. Take 5 and come back.
Kevin, this is so good. I already can't wait to listen again and edit it.
Yeah, this Yule Ball is going to be just insane.
Yeah. Oh boy. Man, Jonah sure went in there and fucked shit up. That was good.
Oh my god, just stomped over everything.
Yep.
It's amazing how much dynamics changed in just a few minutes there.
Yeah.
Really wish I had some strings.
Yeah, we got to work on getting more strings.
Oh well, I'm really close. Oh, I guess I'm not as close to an advancement as I thought. I need 2 more. But this Yule Ball should just be amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. As the kids say, it will be lit.
So who is Ellen going with now, Lowell?
Tony, right?
Okay, she's going with Tony.
Yeah, way to fall on your sword there, Ellen.
And
Rough days.
Sarah's going with Rhodey. I'm going with Austin. Lilith is going with Genevieve. And who is Jonah going with?
Nobody. He's gonna break everything.
Just going to be up in the AV catwalk with his bucket.
Yo,
Ready
yeah.
to make magic happen.
How'd you guys feel about that entire lunch scene?
It was
Fucking
insane.
loved it.
We were just talking about
Crazy good.
It's just everything changed all of a sudden. Now that darkest self, Jonah's back and just stomping on everything, making stuff happen.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's dark anymore because he kind of destroyed Sarah, who's innocent. So
I like Rhodey being like, nice.
And there's actually precedent for that, for Tony kind of calling Jonah on being such an asshole too. So it's
but
interesting.
It's weird, like they'll call him on being an asshole,
but they just roll with
they're
it.
still in his crew. Yeah. It's weird mind control shit.
Well, and you know, sex.
It's sex, right? Did you see Yoshi's message on the Slack, Fraser?
No, what did he say?
He was like, I think he was saying he was like listening to Mercy Falls, and this is what he said: listening to Mercy Falls app, like, do I say like a lot? It feels like every other word, especially when I am like excited. And then Slackbot was like, I don't know, let's ask Fraser for his opinion first.
Who did that?
Who programmed all those Mercy Falls Slackbot responses?
I don't know who did that. And then he was like, oh man, that is so perfect.
Yeah, I just saw that on the Slack.
So around him if you're looking for it.
Yeah, I just saw it. That's pretty funny.
I'm going to take stock of where we're at real quick. So Ellen has just agreed to go to Yule Ball with Tony, so that's great. And Sarah has just agreed to go with Rhodey, so that's great. They're all sorted. Sounds like Lilith is going with Genevieve. Margot's going with Austin still. And Jonah, who are you going with?
Chaos.
Miss Forsyth. Good. We've learned a few things. Lilith was going to go follow up with Jonah because like Lilith saw Jonah kind of like go be angsty or whatever Jonah's doing. Before we get to that though, I want to just kind of figure out where Margot and Ellen are going. Margot, you can frame up your scene if you want.
So really, just like that, you're gonna go. I mean, Tony's an okay guy and everything, but
Ben walks up to the two of you and says, hey, so I was led to believe that the two of you were going to be talking about Yule Ball.
Yeah. Ben. Oh, maybe Ellen wants to tell
Ellen,
you.
I just want you to know that I'm really, really excited to go to Yule Ball with you.
Oh, well, that's cool because I'm going with Tony, and I don't think Jonah has a date, so maybe you should go ask him.
Shut down.
That's a 7.
Okay. He's going to give you a condition. He's going to give you the condition. Well, first of all, what are you choosing?
Oh. I'll gain a string on him.
Okay. And he's going to give you the condition needs help. He says, it's cool, Ellen. It's fine. I get it. I get it. I just want you to know, Ellen, that if things don't go great tonight at Yule Ball, if you need anyone to talk to, I'll be there. I'll be around. And he just kind of like slinks away.
I look at Margot like that, daring her to say it, to say what she's thinking about herself and what Margot clearly is.
Classy, Ellen. That was really classy. You're just going to roll with Jonah's gang. You know what those guys are like. I hope you feel good about yourself. I got to go throw this stuff away. And I stand up with my lunch tray and just walk off.
Did they exchange conditions as well? Yeah? Oh, I missed that.
Do you mean Ben and
Ben and Ellen did?
Yeah, well, Ellen didn't take a
string.
condition on me. Yeah, he took a string, or she took.
I thought you shut down Ellen. You rolled a 7, and then conditions were going to be exchanged. No.
Who, me?
Yeah, you shut down Ellen, right?
I don't think so. No. Ellen shut down Ben.
Ben interrupted the procedure there.
Right. Yeah.
No,
though if you want to shut me down right now, Margot.
No, when Jonah first came by, right, to like pimp out his gang.
Was there
Marco
a shutdown?
said
yeah, no, I gave her protective and she gave me I'm a fool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so Margot, once you go to, where will you go once you go to throw your food away? Or put your tray away?
I think I'll just go find Austin and we'll go smoke a bowl for the balance of the lunch period and just solidify plans for the Yule Ball tonight.
Good. That's good. Let's cut over to Lilith and Jonah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how does this go, Lilith?
Where are you again, Jonah? Where did you run to? The showers?
I ran to the showers in the locker room. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think Lilith comes in and finds you and says, like, do you want to tell me why you're upset?
Yeah, I think he's like sitting in the showers, and I think when he looks up at you, you see like his stomach. You see, I don't know if you remember from like season 1, that thing where like you saw some vision of some animal that like degraded and came back or something. You see that happening on his gut.
Oh.
Like it like rots and you see like plants inside of him, and then it like heals back up again. And
I think that's probably
like,
gaze into the abyss for someone.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I think I would like both of us. Maybe that'd be kind of cool.
I remember that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I just want to know what you both are trying to find out, or what you would want to know.
Well, Lilith wants to know more about, so her primary thrust at this scene is going to be kind of figuring out what happened to Jonah, because for her it's kind of a great shame, right? Like for her, that moment where she got taken in, like we both approached the group and they took her in, and it was like this powerful experience that changed her forever. Meanwhile,
Jonah
you
was
were
kept out, right?
yeah, like Thomas, I remember you started watching us do this thing. Thomas put his hand on you and was like, "This isn't for you. You're coming over here because you're like a nasty boy, basically, right?"
Yeah.
And so yeah, she's gonna try to figure out what's going on with you and like essentially do what she said and try to pull you out of this darkness, essentially with Thomas.
Go ahead and roll. What about you, Jonah?
Yeah, I think Jonah wants to know how he can get justice with Thomas for fucking with his life so much. And like what's that justice look like? I guess. I don't know.
Justice again, like try to serve justice to Thomas, basically.
Right, yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I got a mid result.
I got a terrible result. I got a really low result. I forgot to count my failure earlier too. I got 2.
Your mid result. I will show you confusing and alarming visions, but you get your answer nonetheless. You're going to basically see what happened after that moment, like when you were making out with your brothers and sisters and Jonah was taken away, or at least went into this like unseeable place. You're going to see the place, right? You're going to see Jonah being led away by Thomas. You're going to see Jonah be this is not exactly how it happened in the game, but like basically you're going to see him be led into this like this grove, this dark fey grove, right? And you're going to immediately sense the danger of it, right? You're going to sense the danger and the sort of like ancient hostility between Thomas and your people, right? That's all going to become super clear to you, and so you know that like Jonah is a minion of Thomas in some way, that Jonah is thralled to Thomas in some way, but basically what you have is just like this fear. Is Genevieve, did she go with you, or did Genevieve peace out?
I think she pieced out probably.
Okay, all right. So you're basically like kind of having this like you're just going to see basically visions of like those goblins in the metal mesh bodysuits, like just like ravaging and tearing apart and murdering your court, right? Just a stroke of bloody violence. And that will probably unnerve you a little bit.
Oh yeah. I should say so. Do you want me to keep it cool?
Yeah, I might keep it cool.
Okay.
What are you afraid will happen once you see this?
I think I'm afraid that Thomas is going to know that I'm trying to remove Jonah from that power right now.
Yeah. Good. Go ahead, roll.
9, 8. Mid result again.
Let's just go with that. Thomas will know, or he won't. Like he'll know if you continue trying to like reach Jonah.
Yeah, and I'm depending on what happens with Jonah's thing, I'm going to try to comfort him and also get in some healing for him, maybe by doing so.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, you had a miss, right, Jonah?
Yeah, I did. A big one.
You're going to learn something about like justice and retribution vis-a-vis Thomas, but not exactly how to get it on Thomas.
Right.
You have a first-person vision of yourself in Thomas's throne room, his lair, wherever he is. and he's sitting on his throne, half naked. He just has a loincloth and basically nothing else. And he's got his driftwood crown on his head. And you, or at least from your perspective, you are begging for your life. Like, you are desperately begging for your life. Thomas is so angry right now, and he's going to crush you, and you're on your hands and knees just begging, and he is not hearing you, and you just continue to just to be so obsequious and submissive to him, right? You kiss his hand, you kiss his knee, you kiss his feet, and he finally decides to give you a chance to save yourself, and says, you're going to be going to the Yule Ball in my place. And you look now and you realize that your own hands are not your hands, right? They're someone else's hands. That's what you see.
That's awful. Okay.
So in this scene, does Jonah become Thomas then? Kind of? Or
no, I think we just got a little glimpse into like Thomas and someone else, basically. Probably the delivery boy. Right?
Okay. Cool. I think after seeing all those visions, Lilith is pretty overwhelmed, and I think she's gonna defy Thomas anyway. Especially, she feels very responsible for your condition, Jonah, because yeah, she basically abandoned you to this asshole. And things have been unraveling since, and then we also know that now that Thomas is, has acted against her own Fae kind as well. So I think she's going to approach you and be like, "Oh, Jonah," and like put her hand on your stomach and try to like quiet you. And she's like, I can see what's happened to you. And I think what you need to do is you need to never go near that man again. He is not good for you, and I think you know that. You don't have to keep punishing yourself by doing all these terrible things. You're a good person. I can feel that. And her hand is like on your chest too, right? Like where the what you perceive as being the nasty stuff that is bad and regrowing, she shows you that it's okay by putting her hand there, and it doesn't like repulse her or anything. She's upset, like accepting you even with all of this perceived damage to your body. And she said that she's like, I'm not going to ever abandon you again, but you have to promise me that you'll never go to Thomas again.
Are you also doing a healing here with erotic subtext?
That's what I was going for, yeah.
I'm getting that, yeah. I do have 3 harms, so that's good.
Yeah, you can knock 2 of them off with her magical, tender, erotic subtext Fae touch.
Does that trigger sex moves?
I don't think so. I mean,
I am naked.
I think
I don't know. It seems more caring.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it feel like that to me. So.
Yeah, like she wants to show you essentially that there is erotic, subtext, but also that there is a kind of intimacy that comes along with sex that doesn't have to be like this toxic masculine, like subjugation within it, right? Like that you always seem to go with, and that she saw with you and Thomas. So like just accepting, like there's a whole different kind of intimacy that you haven't really experienced yet. And she could be that for you without it being sexual, but it's still being a powerful experience for you.
Right. So I think that happens.
Is there a string being spent here? Are you spending strings? Or...
I don't have one on Jonah, but okay. I was angling to with, I don't know if the subtext would turn him on or not, or what.
Well, how do you feel about it, Jonah?
Yeah.
I don't think Jonah feels turned on. I think maybe you do get a string on Jonah just because I feel like you saw a part of him that is like freaky as fuck.
I think that's fair.
I think that Jonah, having just experienced his own vision and you trying to make him feel like it's not a big deal, he's mad. I think what you see is like he like looks to you and he's like looking in your eyes, and then I think you see like his face kind of rotting away, and these antlers start poking and growing out of his forehead, and then it's like as his like skin rots away, you see like the stag mask, and I think he's going to actually like push you and send you flying against the wall of the shower.
You should attack her worse. You should like try to kill her.
Is that what Thomas is telling me?
I just if you're in Darkest Self, I just feel like it's something you would do. You've had quite a day.
Am I still in Darkest Self?
Well, I don't know. So what do you think? Let's check in on Darkest Self. Like,
did I destroy Sarah?
I don't think so. Were you trying to?
Well, that's the thing. Is like I really shut her down. Did I destroy her?
I don't think so.
Because if I didn't, then I'm still in Darkest Self.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I think she's kind of okay with what's going on, right? I mean, she's going out. She's going with Tony or Rhodey just because. So she's gonna go.
Yeah,
have a good time.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I push and send Lilith flying against the wall of the shower, and then I like go and I like pick her up and pin her against the wall, and I think that like parts of my body are rotting away again, and like these maggots and worms and things are crawling out of my wounds, and I think that they start going to her and
not physically. Let's let's resolve the roll first. Get that roll on the table. I'm gonna cut away. All right. Just call that out to me when you have it, so I can be thinking.
It's a 4.
This is all going downhill so fast.
At least Jonah's getting a lot of experience.
We need to hurry up and get to Yule Ball before it gets any worse. Ellen, maybe we should just cut to like after school. You getting ready for Yule Ball, possibly, or what do you think? What do you want to be?
Yeah, I mean, she feels tremendously shitty because she was very nasty to people that didn't need to be nasty to, and shat on Margot, who was helpful.
Yeah.
And Ben's just Ben, but Margot, just so she is putting together her usual, dour ensemble for the ball for this thing, and is now kind of starting to regret and is trying to think of ways to get out of this.
You have a knock on your bedroom door.
What?
Ellen, honey, it's your mother. Can I come in?
Guess so.
She comes in and she sees you changing, and you've got you're doing your thing, and she says, "Well, I just wanted to let you know that your father and I are going to be out of town. We're going down to Lake Tahoe for the weekend. And so we're not going to be here, but that if you need anything, here's the phone number you can reach us at, and we'll also have our cell phones." She kind of like gives you this information. And then she says, Are you going to Yule Ball?
Yeah.
Huh. That's wonderful. Honey, that's wonderful. And she goes and she grabs you, she pulls you into a hug. She's like, I just knew that being a great redwood of a girl wasn't going to hold you back forever. She hugs you tight and says, I'm really proud of you. Tell me about the boy. What's he like?
Maybe it's not a boy.
Is this a keep your cool moment?
I think probably.
Yeah, real cold.
She's
what are you
trying to
scared is
find
going
a
to
way
happen with you and your mom here?
to fuck with her mother here, and she can't. She's not very good at this.
Right, yeah.
So that's an 8.
Okay. I think the vulnerability here is actually going to be that, like, she takes a genuine interest in what you're doing, and you guys might even bond.
Oh.
She says, "Tell me all about him. What's his name?" And she sits down, like, she sits down on your bed, like, "Oh, girl talk," right?
Oh my God.
She's like, "It's not that boy Ben, is it?"
What's that, Ben?
Oh, good. So tell me all about him.
Oh, shit. Oh my God, this day has gone not the way she wanted it to. He's just a guy. He's one of Jonah's friends, and so yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's great. Well, I suppose it's time that we have the talk.
Oh no! You're gonna be late.
Honey, no.
You gotta go to
I'm not.
Tahoe.
I'm going to Lake Tahoe, and I won't be able to enjoy myself if I know that we didn't have this talk.
Oh God, I have the internet.
Oh, honey,
Sometimes.
You can't believe anything on the internet. You know that. It's all just fake news anyway. Ellen, sometimes when a young woman and a young man have powerful urges for one another,
I'm going to gaze into the abyss, trying to keep this. My brain is trying to go anywhere else but here, because this is the abyss for me.
Yeah.
Her, because at the back of my mind, she's murdered me before.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, she hasn't done as often as your dad, but she's done her share. Yeah.
And there's probably the thing where I look over and she's talking to me, and I can see the blood on her face, the splatter, and on her fingernails where she's, dug my grave, and I'm trying to not hear this.
Roll it. See, what do you want to know?
Oh, let's see here. That's an 11. Oh, no, 10. Sorry, 10.
Oh, I love it. Can I take over here? Well, what do you want to know? First of all, I
know
how it's going to go.
I was most about avoidance, so whatever you give me would be good.
I think the way this is going to go is, like, I think you're going to have, like, a real, like, moment of clarity about your mom's role in your past, right? And so maybe the answer you're getting is, like, absolute confirmation, right, that your mother has hurt you.
Yeah.
So as she's like saying this, right, like, this is what the scene looks like. You are slapped hard in the face, like, crack. And she says, "Sometimes when a young man and a young woman have feelings for each other, well, you want to do things. You know what I mean? By do things, and you are slammed up against the wall, and your head, like, smacks up against the up against the wall. You're not even in your bedroom anymore, up against, like, the stairway banister, and you crumple down into the ground. And she goes over to the fireplace and grabs a poker, and she says, "It's a really exciting time. It's the reason why you're young. But it's also a really, really dangerous time." And then she just raises it up and just, like,
not again.
slams it into your head and says, it just slams it like, and you black out, but you hear her still. She says, "Sometimes boys will try to take advantage of you, Ellen, and sometimes you may do something that you don't want to do. It's really, really important that, well, first of all, make sure he understands what your boundaries are." And then whack, she hits you again with a poker. And then if you agree and he tries to, well, step over those boundaries, whack again with a poker. And there's just blood spilling out onto the brick of the fireplace. She says, "Well, if a girl doesn't look out for herself, well, then a girl's reputation in her community can be pretty bad." And then whack again. And she says, "And God forbid you get pregnant. Que scandale." And then just repeatedly again. And you snap out of it, and you're in your bedroom, sitting on the edge of your bed. She says, "So, any questions?"
No, I don't think so.
Good. This is really exciting. I'm so happy for you. Let's cut over to Margot. Margot, what are you doing in the lead up to Yule Ball?
I don't think Margot's really doing anything. She's not gonna she's gonna, wear the Hounds of the Moon biker jacket and some black jeans and her Doc Martens and whatever. She and Austin are casual. So, maybe she's just bopping to some music in her room and stuff, waiting for Austin to show up and pick her up, while everyone else is having the most intense day ever. She's kind of like, unless something
doot, doot, doot. Outside.
All right.
Early, but...
Nope, that's cool. The sooner we start, the more fun we have. And go down the trailer steps and out to Austin's car and hop in.
It's not Austin.
Whoa, okay.
It's a great big, like, old lady Cadillac. Like a big, stretched old lady Cadillac, right? Like a tank, right? Vehicle.
Yep. Margot's like halfway down the 3 steps, and she's like, "Whoa."
It's Sister Mary Edward Price, and the window rolls down, and she says, "Hey, Margot."
"Hey.
I hope you don't mind me checking in on you like this. Well, I actually came to talk to your mother, but since you're here..."
Oh, she's at work.
Yeah. Oh, we should also point out that, like, you were at trailer parks or trailer homes. You would have, like, gone down to, like, just to orient ourselves appropriately. Like, you would have this would have been just, like, right outside your window, right? Like, that you would have heard it and gone out. She says, "Well, I accidentally laid on the horn. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to get your attention. But..."
"Oh, that's all right. Everyone can know you're here now."
"Now that you're here, well, I don't want to ruin your Yule Ball, but I was wondering if maybe you wouldn't mind going to get a milkshake with me just for a minute. I'll get you back in time for your beau to come escort you."
Austin's going to be here in like 10 minutes.
She's like, "I don't think we need to worry about Austin.
He's my date. I'm not going to ditch out on him."
She's like, "He might have had a change of plans."
"What do you mean?" I'm kind of walking up closer to the car, starting to get a more aggressive posture.
She's like, "Honey, just get in."
First of all, lol, that's an awesome line.
No, the text. For people watching the video, her milkshakes bring all the wolves to the yard.
I'm going to go up to the driver's side and crouch down and kind of lean in a bit closer. What do you mean Austin might not make it? And then I'm going to also take a really deep sniff because I want to see what she smells like and also know her smell so I can.
You inhale deeply and something hits you like a Mack truck, like pow. And you actually, it like physically like causes you to fall back and collapse on your back. And she says, sorry about that. And like, you're gonna take 2 harm. She says, sorry about that. And she indicates like a little bundle of like herbs hanging from her rear view mirror. She says, Wolfsbane.
Well, I'm sure as hell not getting in the car with you if you got that shit hanging up in there.
She says, Margot, I just want you to know that
that you're coming for me. You already told me that. Remember?
No. I'm coming for you because I care about you, Margot. I'm coming for you because I want you to know that this condition that you're currently suffering from doesn't have to be the end. It doesn't have to be final. We can fix it. Do you understand that? We can fix it.
Maybe some of us don't want to be fixed and don't think we're broken. Maybe you're the one who's screwed up. Think about that. How many people have you killed? Huh?
Maybe I am, but I only have to answer to one person.
That's not what I've heard.
Believe what you want. Margot, I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help Mercy Falls. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help Ellen. I'm trying to help all of you. I tried to help Serena.
And what happened to Serena?
I want to keep her cool.
Yep.
What are you hoping will not happen here?
I'm hoping I don't hear that she dusted Serena.
In terms of like to keep her cool, what are you?
Keep her cool.
Worried about like you reacting, like wolfing out, or?
Yeah, I probably don't want to get. I'd rather wolf out later at the dance before it, because he'll just ruin the whole ensemble.
Yeah. Give me a cold.
So 7-6 with -1 on the cold. So I miss.
You're still like on your back, right?
Yep.
And she gets out of the car and she shuts the door. And
I'm like backing away using my elbows.
And she's keeping up with you, and she kind of kneels down, right? Like kind of kneels down. And she's not a big woman, right? Like you could overpower her easily. But she kind of kneels down and she says, Marco, I want you to know this is not personal. I want you to know that the things I do, sometimes you got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet. Any chef will tell you that.
That's the same thing all the adults say before they do something horrible to one of us.
She puts her hands on your mouth and she says, and she kind of like, she's got something in her hand, right? A little vial of something, a silvery liquid. She says,
oh God.
She's like, this is only going to hurt a little bit, but in the end, your soul will feel all the better for it. And she just pours it in your mouth, and agony, terrible, terrible agony. You're up to 4 harm. And now we go to Jonah and Lilith. A missed roll, right?
Yep.
It goes badly. It goes really badly. I think you intended to hurt Lilith. I think you intended to hurt her pretty badly, but you do worse than that. You murder her, and you murder her bad, like really bad. You even have a little bit of Thomas flowing through you, like that level of like anger and hatred, right?
Okay.
Just describe it. End Lilith right now.
Yeah, I think that as I have her against the wall, and all these like bugs are crawling out of my like worms and like maggots and stuff are crawling out of my wounds and crawling onto her. I think that I am just like choking her. And I think I just choke her out.
Lilith, what are you thinking while this is going on?
Fuck Thomas.
You don't blame Jonah. That's interesting.
I think that what happens like is that as this is happening and as like the life is fading out of Lilith, Jonah just says, "Justice."
Well, I don't know where we go from all these scenes today, so let's.
I actually, oh man, I feel like I want one more scene.
Of what?
Just later in the night.
Not during Yule Ball. I don't want Yule Ball to happen quite.
Not during Yule Ball. Before Yule Ball.
Okay, sure.
Did anyone else want anything else?
Well,
I just want a series of I just want a series of camera cuts showing all these dead bodies laying around.
Yeah, I think that it's later and it's dark and Jonah's back at his house and he's outside and he has Thomas's car there with the trunk open. And I think there's like some song playing or something like you would expect at the end of an episode of some show. And he like puts this bucket, he puts like a bucket of mud in the back trunk. And he like, it's got like saran wrap over the top of it.
Okay.
To keep it from spilling. And then he puts another one in and then he like throws in the stag mask and like shuts the trunk. And like as the music is playing, he like looks over and there's like Ben's window is lit up. And so then I think we see Jonah like in his bathroom, like cleaning up, and he puts on this nice suit that he has, and like maybe from this one time he was dragged off to church or something. And then he goes downstairs outside of Ben's window and like throws like a pebble or something at Ben's window.
Okay. He responds. Yeah. He's like, "Hey, Jonah, well, you could just knock on the door."
And
this is at the window, I guess, right?
And so Jonah like puts his hands on his hips and then he looks like smiles at Ben. He's like, "Hey Ben, I didn't know if your folks would be cool with it, but I was wondering, do you maybe want to go to the Yule Ball with me?"
He's like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, of course. That feels good. God, poor Ben.
I think we just see them getting in the car together and driving off.
A denouement. The Yule Ball. Camera swoops in through the gymnasium doors, right? I want details. I want to paint the scene real briefly of the Yule Ball. Two things. What like nod or what basic like nod to sort of like secularism and or not preferencing the Christian religion have they done at Yule Ball? Like it's a small thing. It's like not a big thing, but it's supposed to convey that this is for all religions, not just Christianity. And yet, what do we see in the Yule Ball? There's like a huge sign that this is a Christmas thing, right? Just paint the scene in that way.
I think there's like all these different trees around the sides
Mm-hmm.
that they've decorated with like ornaments from like different religions and cultures. It's
Nice.
very obvious what they're doing.
It's like a Kwanzaa
it's not
tree.
Even like they mix them together. It's like, here's the Jewish tree.
Right. As if those other faith traditions have a Christmas tree.
Exactly. Right? Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think there's probably like, because probably the gym maybe is also used by grade schoolers for like Christmas things and stuff. They're probably like those posters, homemade posters by grade schoolers that this is what Kwanzaa is, and then
Right,
they cut out shit and post it on there with glitter, and those are up on the walls like science fair things all over the place.
I love it.
They're probably really stupid and made all the chaperones dress up like a different holiday person or something too. Like one of them is Jesus and one of them is, some other holiday, and I don't know. I think some really weird thing like that.
Okay, I'm into it.
Especially if there are animal head costumes around then, like for Easter bunnies and stuff.
Yeah. From all the school plays, they're just like,
lots of animal head masks.
Yeah. What cursory nod to multiculturalism do we have at the Yule Ball, Margo? Or really, Kevin?
Boy,
Margo's dead.
We could either have a menorah set up somewhere, with whatever the appropriate number of lights would be at this point.
A menorah surrounded by tons of Christmas trees and
Yep.
snowmen, right? Yeah.
It's like a suburb I used to live in was very much like that.
Yeah. Good. As the students are filing in, we hear "Rocking Around the Christmas Tree," da 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 da. Right. Give me the Christmas. Give me the like over the top Christmasness of Yule Ball.
Fake snow is falling down from the rafters on the dancers, of course.
Love it.
They've got this huge gingerbread house on a table. But like also there's like a gingerbread manger.
they hired
candy baby Jesus.
Gumdrop baby Jesus.
I think they've hired a Santa, nice. who maybe on at one point looks like they're drunk, but on the other point, we might get a more sinister shot of them in the thing. But there's definitely a Santa wandering around in the background of most of the shots.
Nice. Let's say you, Fraser.
Maybe when they're trying to raise money for the school, so you can buy ornaments, and they're all Christmas ornaments that you can go and hang up on the tree, and it donates like $5 to the children or whatever, and it's and it's of the charity, of course, is some like probably Christian Santa Christmas thing.
Good. As the camera pulls out of the gymnasium and kind of goes to a dark corner of the parking lot. Very dark corner of the parking lot. We see in a car, we see the delivery boy sitting in the driver's seat of the car. He has tears streaming down his face and an assault rifle on the passenger side. And we cut.
This got so dark so fast at the end.
I think we have like 2 dead characters to deal with next time.
It got real dark real fast. It really barreled towards darkness, which is good.
And this is Margot's second time going down.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is going to do to her.
There's some intense moments, like the Ellen and the mother scene was really, really like.
Yeah, that was brutal.
That was a hard hitting scene. Yeah. I liked it. Cool. All right, we'll be on Discord in a few minutes if you guys want. I'm gonna stop this.